Hello, 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 hello. I am trying my camera in the top corner. However, my computer is not very powerful and it's complaining about having to do games on camera. So I might move it. Anyway, I'm Suzaki. And welcome to me getting very stressed and not talking much because I know what makes good content. Let me know in chat if there are any issues on your end because, like I say, my computer is struggling slightly. I might delete my camera if there is issues, but we'll see.
Well, that's a very blunt
Telephone.
question.
Yeah, we'll continue from where we got to last night. I will probably play this game again. Now I know kind of how it's working. Kind of what the point is. But for now, we'll just go with what I'm doing. The lockdown.
Alex, oh thank God you're alive. It's Jenny, the floor manager. Are you okay? Alex, you need to get it together.
Oh yeah, I got like electrocuted or something, didn't I?
Just look at it. That's all we've been putting out since you went down. You have to fix it, now. Look left, Alex, out the window. See? They're all over it, little bastards. You're going to need full charge to clear that many off. Hold down the big button until it's fully charged. Then release it to zap the little fuckers. Excellent, Alex. We're broadcasting again. They must have built up while you were napping. Usually it only takes a tap on the button to clear one. Look, there's a lone one climbing now. Zap it off before it starts to mess up the signal again.
What on earth?
Great. That seems to be the last
Like
of them.
aliens or
For
something.
now. Right. We're about a minute out. Get the adverts loaded up. I've got to deal with my pet idiot. And Alex, keep your ears open. You'll hear them climbing up the tower. Don't let them build up.
We'll be going live to the National Nightly News. But before that, let's take a look at what's coming up later on.
This has no credibility, Jenny.
On Channel 1 at 7 o'clock.
No professionalism.
What's wrong with this picture? And
It's not a mess. Everything is where it should be. It's
everything
ramshackle and
switched
characterful, and I expect you to know the difference.
Yeah.
followed at 8 p.m. by a
Of course Megan's place looked lovely, but I can't see it, can I?
Thanks, Jenny. How's lock-in with the boyfriend going?
outside.
Decided to take his chances on the wild streets, eh? Rather than endure another romantic comedy.
Electric Fever Dream, starring Lawrence Blunderclatch as Helen.
Jeremy, Jenny says your hair looks stupid.
Yes, I can hear her.
As she says she's not talking to you.
Yes, I know, I can hear her.
Shall I count us in?
Make it so.
Okay, 10 seconds. Break a leg, everyone.
Preferably a furry one.
It's the National Weather Report.
5, 4,
But now,
3,
it's time to join Jeremy Donaldson.
Good evening, I'm Jeremy Donaldson.
and I'm Megan Wolf. Our main stories tonight.
Snugglefucked? It's been almost 5 weeks since all the Mrs. Snugglehugs toys woke up simultaneously in factories worldwide and began searching for their husbands. The Mr. Snugglehugs we have so short-sightedly destroyed. And now, as this photograph suggests, they may be changing tactics.
Built to surprisingly traditional gender stereotypes, the Mrs. Snugglehugs have been arming themselves with a variety of household implements. All the more reason to make sure that cat flap is taped up good and tight.
What
Armed
the
with blunt
hell?
weapons, the Mrs. Snugglehugs are only ankle height and therefore able to be kicked away easily by young, healthy individuals. They do, however, pose a particular risk.
It's
to the
starting
elderly
very
or those
randomly.
with pre-existing medical conditions like fatal bruise syndrome.
Going stir crazy, with no signs of Mrs. Snugglehugs' batteries running out, and the government lockdown now in its 31st day, domestic relationships across the country are taking some unexpected turns.
Dramatic reports are beginning to emerge of uncharacteristically bold behaviour in homes across the country. And we're not talking about the model planes that occupy so much time in the Donaldson household.
With dating options limited, many house sharers, in particular students, are finding solace in co-tenants they'd previously rejected as unfuckable, indulging in an activity that has become known as snuggle tugging.
Transformation. Popular cemetery Johnny Hansleeves, who has recently been suffering with his health, sent us this
I
photo
missed the
today,
censor thing.
presumably in a pathetic attempt to stay relevant at a time of global crisis.
Since receiving his test results, things in Johnny's life have taken a surprising turn. He's certainly using the lockdown to reinvent himself.
It seems that rumours that Johnny has been ill were just that, and that he has, in fact, developed superhuman powers. Renaming himself Captain Ha, he has pledged to fight crime, mainly in the agricultural sector.
The shape of things to come? In their own version of a lockdown for more than 45 years now, the descendants of Doctors David Wong and Ingrid Svorsborgen-Horgensvoord and their unfortunate team today managed to get a personal statement to the surface using flagellized imaging equipment.
Many of the Svorsborgen-Horgensbrood, as they've come to be known, have certainly captured the public imagination, with a recent vote naming Helvetica Svorsborgen-Warmansvoord the most likely to survive a massive electric shock.
Greetings from Dante's Tate, or as we say down here in the family, many mushrooms to you. I don't know what a Mrs. Pluckless Pug is, but they sound like they're causing you guys real problems. We've been trapped down here for 8,961 days now, and all I can say is I sure am glad Mum and Dad chose not to get on that statecraft. Since they grew me and the rest of the family, we've been getting on famously, and sometimes Mum stops crying for upwards of 20 minutes. Also, it turns out, at push, you can eat flags, if you can handle the stomach cramps and the amnesia. Greetings from Dante's Taint, or as we say down here in the family, many mushrooms to you.
It's hard to believe they've been down there so long now.
But as everyone knows, time moves differently underwater, Jeremy. That's why goldfish are so stupid.
That is why
That's right.
goldfish are so
And anyone
stupid.
will tell you, the deeper the bowl.
The thicker the goldfish.
There's no denying the logic of that.
Class war, a worrying turn today for the formerly rich as ever more punishing measures are announced, Alex.
With the country becoming ever more hostile to the previously wealthy, those who managed to skip the country must be very grateful to the people who help them right now.
We have it from several sources that rich runaways have actually begun to spontaneously lose their teeth one by one. Is it some sort of cosmic justice, or has masked vigilante Dental Dennis been up to his old tricks again?
Could be both.
And Advance speaks out. With the snuggle struggle proving a test to governments around the world, Advance HQ released a curious statement this afternoon.
In the accompanying release, they asked us to stress that they have been listening, and that this should be taken as a response to how the people really feel.
We've certainly done our bit on this show to contribute to the political climate. But let's not forget, how we behave in our home lives.
This game
is
just
what
gets more
really
confusing.
matters.
Let's hope it's not just me who filled out that questionnaire, Jeremy, or we're all in trouble.
Let's play that statement.
Evening. Apparently, we need to have a chat about playing by the rules. So, the other night I were at my local park for research purposes, and there were a bunch of lads having a kickabout without a care in the world. And not only did they refuse to let me join in, they wouldn't even let me have a swig of their white stripe. Laughing and joking they were, like they weren't a national prize or something, until one of them little pink demons followed them home and kicked the shit out of their nan. So, I've got two things to say to you young, fit folk. One, stay at home. It's not for you. It's to protect your Aunt Mabel and Bill next door. And two, always share your booze with your Prime Minister. As my old man used to say, there's only two type of folk. Them who will help you across the road with the shopping, and them who will kick you in the fanny and nick your macaroni. So don't be a pasta snatcher. Stay at home. Have a brandy. And this will be all over before you know it. Thank you.
Delectable stuff.
Later tonight, Jeremy will be catching up with brave roving reporter Patrick Bannon, while I check in with two friends of the programme who find themselves stranded at opposite ends of the country.
And then, in part 3, there's going to be a quiz. Presumably because there's nothing more important going on that you might like to report on if you were, say, a news programme.
And in a moment, we'll both be asking Sophia Rimington how such a trusted brand can have made such a terrible manufacturing mistake.
With what it describes here as help from popular psychic scientist Delia Lyle.
Oh, I like her.
You don't, why do you do that?
That's all coming up on tonight's
National Nightly News.
game just gets more and more difficult and more weird.
First tonight, how did we get here? Where are we going? And most importantly, who's to blame?
Joining us from her ranch in Arlingsfield, Milkirky is the CEO of Rimington's Fist, internationally respected business Bengali, Sophia Rimington.
Thank you for having me, Megan. I'm a huge fan of your work.
And from a crystal healing laboratory, what I assume is a garage in Upper Lowington, inexplicably renowned psychic scientist, Dr. Delia Lywell. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Sorry, us?
Myself and the eminent professors.
Is that what you call the voices in your head?
I've always seemed to attract dead scientists. I don't really know why.
The money?
They express themselves to me through ethereal algebra and quadratic predictions. It's all very technical.
No, it isn't.
I concur. Miss Remington, the entire SNUGGLEHUGS range will surely go down as the biggest public relations disaster in history, won't it?
Well, of course, that's one world record we would never have sought to claim.
What can you say at a time like this?
There is only one thing that can be said. I'm sorry. We're sorry. From everyone here at Rimington's Fist, but especially the dedicated inventors and world-beating engineers at Rimming Toys, we are deeply
Rimming
sorry.
Toys.
Who could have predicted that letting a child's toy learn how to love could have such unforeseen consequences?
Mary Shelley?
We see you, Sophia Rimington. You are preening by a metal vessel, and where you venture, you will see neither land nor sky.
Is that supposed to be the future?
Only the past is concrete. I remember being a child in my grandpa's workshop when he made the first dancing hanging toy. He put it by my bed, and when I couldn't sleep, I'd wind it up and let it go, and I'd watch that happy little executioner just wiggle and wave his tiny noose and dance before my eyes. Grandpa sold thousands of them, on the quiet, obviously. And he used the money he made to found Rimming Toys, which is now just one small part of the global supermassive megacore that is Rimington's Fist. Sadly, we lost Grandpappy along the way. He died in a fire at the preschool tobacco factory, another one of his pet projects. But we never lost his spirit of invention.
Yes, I'm not entirely certain what your grandfather's offensive toys have to do with the current predicament.
The spirit of invention, Mr. Donaldson. The passion to create, to problem solve. And that is why I'm here today, to tell you about a brand new product we're launching simultaneously around the world from midnight tonight.
We said science! Science! We hear its song on the breeze, its breath on the wind, its fart under the covers.
How does she do it?
Well, please, don't keep us in suspense any longer.
Won't be my feature she's making up next.
Rimington's Fist is proud to present Snuggle Traps. Safety and security in these dangerous times. Each box of Snuggle Traps contains 8 devices, all guaranteed to stop a Mrs. Snugglehug in its tracks. That's enough for a small lawn or 4 window boxes. And you want to know the best thing? They're only $129.99 a box. Now that is affordable peace of mind.
We see you, Jeremy Donaldson.
Not now, honey, I'm mid-pitch. The best thing about Snuggle Traps is they're powered by next-generation Flardinium batteries.
Well,
So,
Flardinium
however long the
batteries.
enemy lasts,
I mean, we
those
can't
traps will
argue with
outlast
that,
them.
can we?
We see you, Mr. Donaldson. You are screaming and yelling. Your friends are crying. They fear you. And then you're gone.
Oh my god, I just got chills. Did anyone else just get chills then?
I think I did.
I think it's more concerned. I think I'd be more concerned about these traps. Quickly, before we go to the break, these appear to be attractively repackaged landmines. Are they dangerous to
Landmines.
children?
Oh, hell yeah. These are not toys. Whoops. But they're explosive fun.
Sophia Rimington, Dr. Delia Lywell, thank you for joining us.
When we come back, we'll be taking a look at the situation across the country tonight.
Don't go away. We'll be back after these bandages.
Was that all right?
Oh yes, Doctor, that was exactly what we...
She seems very nice, that young Miss Remington.
I think she'd make an Interesting dinner guest.
I'm gonna
Do you think
remove
so?
the camera. I
I
don't
think I'd
think
rather
it's
spend
doing
the
a lot.
evening shoving Delia's sacred crystals up my sceptical arsehole.
Mate, it's Dave. You're not going to believe this, but I've decided to come home. Listen, I'll call you back at the next break and we can talk about how I get me job back. Cheers, Alex. See you, mate.
And that wasn't popular. I used to have a ventriloquist act. I cheated, rather, because I trained a dog to talk. You can get down on all fours and yap like a dog for only 22.
Yeah, well, it's been a long time coming. Well, exactly. You said it, I've said it. He must know. He's not stupid. I just don't want it getting back to him that it came from us. Hey, no, Jenny. You're not backing out on me now. We're in this together. What's going on? We'll get him. I've made the cake. You're on the balloons. Got no idea how old he is. 40? 17? Yeah, ready. Okay, coming back. In 5, 4, 3... Welcome back to the National Nightly News. I'm Megan Ruth. Now it's time to take a trip around the country to hear how the lockdown might impact the nation from some friendly faces. Joining me are respected academic Katie Brightman and author of Alan James's Kites, Alan James. Thank you for joining me.
It's a pleasure. Thanks for having me, Megan.
Thanks, Megan. It really is a pleasure, Katie. I enjoyed our little heated encounter.
I wish I could say the same.
So first off, Katie, how are you coping?
I'm holding up okay. The lockdown directive was so sudden that, like many people, I haven't been able to get home.
Oh no, what happened?
I was staying at a hotel after an international policy convention, and we had a particularly heavy night out. You know what economists are like.
Notoriously hate splitting the bill.
And I overslept, and as you can imagine, I've been here ever since. But there are certainly people much worse off than me.
Exactly. My tour has been cancelled indefinitely, and I've had to refund every single ticket, even the cheap seats.
Oh, Alan, I'm so sorry to hear that.
Yeah. People are being quite rude about it. They don't seem to realise they've already spent it filling the beach house with beef.
The crisis claims yet another victim.
So, this is just a reminder that my book, Alan James's Reich, is now available in paperback.
Unbelievable.
What was that?
You're unbelievable.
So, Katie, how do you think this might affect the economy? Should we be worried?
Very, Megan. Not to sound dramatic, but this could be catastrophic. Unemployment has skyrocketed, and frankly, it will be a miracle if a lot of businesses can survive this.
There you go, scaremongering again, spreading this latest liberal hoax. That's what they want. They want us quiet. They want us compliant. And they want us inside.
This is
How on earth can
bit real, isn't it?
Well, I haven't actually seen one of these supposed toys. Have you?
Well, no, but...
Did you know 3,000 people die every year?
A little bit close to home.
That's a lot of people. And this is no different. You're just as likely to be hunted down by a yo-yo or a tennis racket.
He makes an excellent and persuasive point, Katie.
Don't listen to her, Katie. The press are the enemy of truth.
She's agreeing with you, Alan, you absolute shit!
Well, then I must be wrong.
Alan, are you now recanting your statement that these toys aren't dangerous?
People are saying they're just like normal toys, and that simply isn't true. Corrupt media lies.
And Katie, how do you respond to Alan's claims that Mrs. Snugglehugs might be dangerous after all?
I suppose I guess I'm agreeing with him.
Thank you, Katie. I appreciate your support. A lot of folks are saying this Mrs. Snugglehug situation will all blow over, but it won't.
Yes, right, exactly. We need decisive action from the government. We need huge financial support to protect our workers and our businesses. We need to support the vulnerable, and we need
to repent. Exactly right, Katie. We brought it on ourselves with all our liberal indulgences like art, cake, and healthcare. We need to act now and begin sacrificing our firstborns, or to push a beloved family pet.
Absolutely, Alan. If we can all successfully come together as a community and perform the ritual, hopefully we will appease the great ancient. Katie, could it be any worse?
Luckily, over the past few years under Advance, they've invested
Appease the great ancient.
so the system can actually bear the strain.
Is it lucky that the Llama Lords have unleashed a horde of man-made monsters on its own people to conceal the enemy within?
Will you just stop for 5 fucking seconds?
The Global Alliance of Fish People are
They're together.
Me.
And amassing an army to kidnap.
That's you. That's what you sound like. That's you. That's what you sound like.
But I don't sound like that.
Yes, you do.
You do, Alan. You do sound like that.
And that's why no one wants to be your friend. And that's why no
I've got loads of friends.
No, you haven't.
I don't think you do, Alan.
Yeah, stop lying, Alan.
I'm not lying. You are.
Oh, good one. Oh, good one.
Well, I'm telling.
Alan James.
Alan, you know what they
Katie
say
Bright,
about
thank you
trenches,
for
Alan?
joining me. Some real food for thought there from two of the territory's leading minds. Any moment now, I'll be heading over to Jeremy, who is going to be bringing us an up-to-the-minute report of the status of the nation. Over to you, Jeremy.
Thank you for what I'm sure was a reasonable debate which really contributed to the national conversation. Next, out on the streets, someone who's always doing exactly that. It's Patrick Bannon. Are you there, Patrick?
Hello, Jeremy. Yes, hello, I'm here. I'm here live. Apologies for the quality of the broadcast today. Couldn't find any cameramen or women brave enough to come and join me, so I'm out here on my own.
Right, and can you tell us what it's like out there?
Yep, I can. It's as you can see behind me, the streets are currently completely deserted. So my question, Jeremy, is just how long? I mean, could there be danger lurking just around the corner, waiting to end the fledgling career of this young, promising journalist before his full potential is even realised? Will he die, underappreciated by management?
I mean, we can only hope.
Very, very much underpaid.
I don't think there's any danger of that, Patrick. What's that on your jacket there? What's that on your jacket there?
Oh.
I've made what I've done here is made a snuggle
Wrong
proof
button.
jacket, Jeremy. The network didn't bother sending me any PPE, so I've been forced to improvise. In fact, showing the sort of resourcefulness that would make me an ideal candidate for, I don't know, for example, an anchor position starting whenever they'd like.
From your point of view, Patrick, just how safe are our streets?
Not safe at all, Jeremy, not safe at all. I'd recommend people staying inside, following government advice and not putting themselves at any risk at all. Unless, of course, like me, it's for groundbreaking journalism reasons.
Mm-hmm. And just where are you, Patrick?
I'm in the street, on the street.
Which street?
Is he though? He's not, is he?
I think I'm struggling to hear you, actually, Jeremy, there.
Which street? Which street are you on?
Oh, which street am I on? Oh God. I'm just looking for a sign. There it is. I'm on Bannon Avenue.
Bannon Avenue?
Yep.
Bannon Avenue.
Yeah, no, I can hear you fine. Yep, I'm on Bannon Avenue on the side, it says there.
Like Patrick Bannon?
Oh yeah, that is like, that's strange, that's a weird sign. I don't know what's going on there.
Where are you really?
I'm on Bannon Alright, fine, I'm not on Bannon Avenue, I'm at home, to be honest. Alright, well, I'm in my bathroom technically, but you know, I couldn't face it, to be honest, mate. It's you know, it's terrible out there. I don't want to go outside. They're everywhere. I'm sorry for lying.
We don't expect any less of you, Patrick.
You hear that sound? What was that?
I can, yes. I'm no expert, Patrick, but it sounds unmistakably like a tiny fist tapping on your door there.
Oh, fuck, it does. Oh, fuck, Jeremy, shit, no! Oh, bollocks.
Perhaps there's a small queue of tiny fists, each wielding a different gendered household implement, ready to bash in the heads of lying little roving reporters.
But you're lying, aren't you? Oh, shit, fucking, listen to me, you bastards! If you're out there, just piss off, you little fucking snuggle fuck! I'm too talented to die! I'm too talented. What the fucking hell? Okay, it's fine. It's fine. Oh, God.
Don't worry, Patrick. I'd say you've got a few seconds before they break their way in there and finish you off. What do you see, Patrick? What do you see, Patrick? chick for that report, showing the nation, and more importantly management, just where you belong. It's time for another break, but when we come back, we'll be hoping to take your mind off the world for a little while, and who knows, maybe even bring you a few smiles. Join us after this. You're damn right. Yeah, I had them delivered.
Oh, I didn't notice the big old sunshine. He looks so happy. What? Oh no, is this turning into Five Nights at Freddy's?
Aging. Possibly more so. We need to come together. Every single one of us.
I've never played Five Nights at Freddy's.
No, I'm not.
What?
I'm not going to.
Eye of the beholder. Because you'll have to go out in public eventually.
3. Welcome back to the National Nightly. Well, welcome back anyway. We know isolation isn't easy, so finally tonight we have something a bit different for you. Even though some people felt it's not our job to entertain the public with absolute nonsense, other, more important people overruled those people. So it's time to find out who will National Nightly win and who will National Nightly lose. Fuck off! So, how do we play? Well, joining me is a man who knows all about playing. It's Tommy Harris. Hello, Tommy.
All right, Johnny. It's good to see you.
And how are you finding the lockdown, Tommy?
What do you mean lockdown?
The enforced isolation of everyone in the country.
Ah, yeah. I think I heard about that, actually, yeah.
You're in bed, Tommy?
Yes, you called during nap time, so...
Of course, that's my fault. So, why don't you tell us how the game is played?
Well, it's pretty simple, Jeremy, you sausage. I'm going to ask contestants from around the territory 3 questions about what else, yours truly. And those people are going to get a chance to win a very special prize.
And what are they playing for, Tommy?
Drum roll, please. Jeremy.
Oh.
Jeremy. Thank you. This.
Is that... What is that?
It's my athletic support, Jeremy.
Oh.
But I've signed it, so...
Oh, well then, what a fantastic prize.
Have we got anybody waiting to win this once-in-a-lifetime prize, Jimmy?
I believe we have Angie on the line. How do you feel about winning this man's old pants, Angie?
I've never been so excited, Jeremy. And can I just say, I love you. Both of you.
Well, you've said it now, haven't you?
Oh, Angie, I love you. In a way. Tell us about yourself, Angie.
Well, what can I say? My name is Angie. Always has been. I'm a human woman, and my dental hygiene has been described as acceptable.
Brilliant! Right, well, shall we get this shambles underway?
Absolutely, John. Can I get 30 seconds on the clock, please?
We haven't got a clock.
Yeah, I did ask for a clock. So,
well, why don't you start, and I'll stop you when it inevitably becomes unbearable to watch.
I love it. All right, here we go. Time starts now. Question 1. When is my birthday?
The 13th of August at 7:19 a.m.
That is absolutely correct. Question 2. What? I said, what is my favourite colour?
Crushed praline 4.
Correct, the colour of my nipples. And finally, Angie dear, what is my
I don't even know what to say about this.
That's a trick question. You were born outside of the human understanding of the cosmos.
Unbelievable, that is correct. Stop the clock.
Wow, that really was tough to watch. How did you do, Tommy?
Well, Angie, my love, you got every single question right. which of course means you lose and win absolutely nothing. Thanks for playing, Angie. Bye.
What?
Do we have another contestant on the line at Jellybean?
We do indeed.
Jellybean.
Sonia Artleach. Are you there, Sonia?
Of course I am, Jamie, darling.
Go away, little fluffy thing.
You are Tommy. Mwah.
Let me guess, you work in theatre, don't you?
Is it that obvious? What gave it away? Was it the glamour or poise?
It certainly wasn't your inherent sense of humility.
Tell us about yourself, Sonia.
Oh, well, if you must play this game. I am a theatrical agent. I represent the likes of Rudy Beefman, Samuel Coffeecup and Jodie Carpetburn, amongst others.
Not Jodie Carpetburn,
And
wow.
how's lockdown affected you, Sonia?
Well, they may have closed the theatres, shut the studios and boarded the cinemas, but they won't get me that easily.
How are you managing without any work?
Due to a savvy clause in all of my artists' contracts, I am able to claim my 15% from their unemployment benefit.
Nice.
Wow, that certainly is sharp.
Standard stuff, standard stuff.
And can I ask, where are you speaking to us from?
Well, I work from home, you know, to keep costs down.
And who's this?
Oh, well, you know, when they gave the order, I was actually mid-meeting with a client.
That's that maths
so
teacher.
We've been isolated together.
No fucking way.
What the fucking fuck?
Is that Tommy Harris? I'm a huge fan. Can I just tell you how bloody brilliant you are?
Actually, Jeff, we're about to play a game, aren't we, Tommy?
We've got time, we've got time.
Well, if it's not too bold, I think I am in love with you, Mr. Harris.
No, it's not too bold. That's all right, don't worry.
Hey, I'd love to show you some of my stuff. I've been working on some new shit.
Well, at least you're already aware.
During lockdown, we've been workshopping some of Jeff's ideas for much younger children, haven't we?
People still let you near their children, do they?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I've been developing some shows for younger children.
Well, we'd love to see it, wouldn't we, Gerbil?
Absolutely dying to.
Right, so, what do kids love?
Timely child support payments from their absent fathers.
Shallow and overproduced musical numbers?
That's right. Animals! So, I'm trying to address the things that kids need to know, but through a medium that they'll understand. Do you understand?
I think so, yes.
Jeff's one of my best clients, aren't you?
I am, yeah. So, the first one we've been working on is called The King of the Jungle's Mortgage Repayment. It's about a lion who's having problems with his interest rates.
I see. Does he have a broker?
He does, yes. He's a porcupine. How did you know that?
Well, your work is universal, darling. It speaks to people.
I'm going to say something to you, mate. I think you're onto something here.
Oh, the bear.
Oh, yes. Right. This one is much better. So, this one tells the tale of Mr. Bear. Now, Mr. Bear is a very sad bear.
Very sad
because
bear,
all of
poor
the other
Mr. Bear.
bears don't think that it'll amount to much, and they tell him that his plays are lazy and derivative.
I think you're onto something there.
Now, Mr. Bear is a tragic figure. Picture this. He's at his lowest ebb. The trees are closing in. He can't even face his salmon,
Oh
can
no,
he?
poor
But
Mr. Bear.
then he meets someone that will change his life forever.
This is fucking gripping.
That's right. He meets a wise old octopus who takes him under his wing and says, "No, Mr. Bear, don't be sad. You're not like all the other bears. You have this ambition and these dreams."
Such fucking dreams.
I think I love you, Jeff.
And what you need to do, Mr. Bear, says the octopus, probably doing an 8-armed gesture or something.
What you need to do to find happiness in this crazy old forest is you need to set yourself more realistic goals. It's called Mr. Bear Lowers His Expectations.
Wow.
I think kids will love that.
And what do you want children to take away from this?
Oh, fuck shit, fuck.
What?
I said a more realistic worldview.
Are you all right, Jamboree?
It's Jeffrey. My name is Jeffrey Donington.
No, stop. How does it end? We need to know how it ends.
Well, all the animals learn a thing or two about inevitable mediocrity.
Yeah, and Mr.
Very
Bear
useful
settles
for them
down
to
near
know.
to his parents' cave, stops trying to make his band happen, and he goes into bear telemarketing.
Sounds good.
Becomes a bear maths teacher.
Oh, and we end. We end on a big musical number. Oh, there's dancing. It's very repetitive, so it's catchy but not too challenging. Well, if you like, I could go and get my boombox.
Yeah, I might be able to... Hang on, can we get Angie back?
Why not? The more the merrier, as they say at orgies.
Right, I'll just fill then, shall I? Coming up in a moment, it's the world premiere that
Tell you
nobody saw
something, this game
coming.
is not
Or wanted.
what I expected.
At all. I can only apologise in advance for what we're all about to endure.
You turn this shitting thing up. Well, there's all sorts of creatures down on Dangly Doodle Farm, like wise old Mr. Octopus with way too many arms. There's Mr. Pig and Mr. Cow, they're always in good moods, but that's 'cause they don't know they'll soon be sliced up into food. Mr. Bear, what's that over there? That's where your hopes go to turn into despair. Mr. Bear, what's that over there? That's where your dreams go to die. Mr. Raccoon wants to go to the moon. He'll end up as a bus driver soon. Mr. Porcupine thinks he'll read the news at 9. He'll end up as a janitor who stinks of turpentine. Mr. Tiny Mouse thought he'd own a massive house, ended up in a bedsit where he can't control the louse. Mr. Horse thought he'd go into professional sports, now he's an alcoholic and he's on his third divorce. Mr. Bear, what's that over there? That's the place your life becomes an endless questionnaire. Mr. Bear, what's that over there? That's where your hopes go to die. Lower your expectations. Maybe you could get a job in telecommunications. No matter how you try, you'll never reach the League of Nations. The best you'll get is middle rank in trading operations. So lower your expectations. You'll never win an Oscar, so there's no congratulations. The future that is coming will not meet specifications, and no amount of visualizations will save you from your own deterioration. Mr. Bear, what's that over there? That's a tramp who thought he'd be a multi-millionaire. Mr. Bear, what's that over there? That's where self-esteem goes to die. Mr. Bear, what's that over there? That's the disappointment that is waiting everywhere. Mr. Bear, what's that over there? That's where your schemes go to die. That's where your dreams go to die. That's where dreams go to die.
Amen, Mr. Bear. Amen. And before we say goodnight, there's just time for tonight's parable.
Still have no idea what's
For
going
it
on.
did come to pass that on the road there was a wise man and a foolish man and a weird man. And there did come upon them from the local village a truth seeker named Unlikely Brian. And he did come to them with arms
Unlikely Brian.
and someone else's arms and a question. "A wise and weird and foolish man," he said, whilst dancing the traditional jig of inquiry common in those lands at those times. "How, grant thou, can the many weights and measures of life be balanced? And the wise man did say, there are no riches greater than family. And the foolish man did say he'd heard a good tip for the camel race and that it was a sure thing. And the weird man did say that 2 ears was just the right number, because there was no good place to put a third that wouldn't be aesthetically upsetting. Although he did see the use for a second anus. And unlikely Brian did fall into wonder and befuddlement at their answers, although he was also wondering if either the foolish man or the weird man had any actual value in this sort of professional consultative environment, for what he did not know was that the profound man and the practical man were both on annual leave that week, and the foolish man and the weird man were all that the agency had available. But what unlikely Brian did not reveal was that he was asking for his friend Alex, who had enraged their spouse over a passport, treated their son Charlie like he was still a little baby, and was too miserly to even pay for their daughter's holiday.
That's what I did.
Thus did Alex's family become like our Lord, when he discovered a turd in his cradle and was forced to ask Nebuchadnezzar to leave. Well, that's all we have time for tonight. I'm Archangel Megan Wolf. Have a hateful night. Are we done? Oh my God. I thought I was going to piss myself halfway through that. Not even joking. Right, babe, I've got to go and get my bits done. Yeah, I'm seeing that guy tonight again, aren't I? Yeah, well, at the end of the day, babes, he makes my fanny flutter. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, come on then, you lot, out my house. And you, Alex. All right? I don't want you here when I'm on my date. I'm on a promise. Alex. Wake up, Alex. Wake up. Wake up.
Ah!
Wake up, Alex. Alex. Wake up. Wake up.
Was that all a dream? Because that makes sense. I mean, none of this game makes sense. A+! I'm so awesome! All offensive words were censored. An interference-free show. An exceedingly poor edit. Every time I get an exceedingly poor edit, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. Day 153. A rude awakening. Current wealth starting to get rich. Nice. The rhythmic beeping of the heart monitor brings you slowly back to consciousness. Opening your eyes, you're greeted by a semicircle of concerned faces. Your family by your side, a reassuringly familiar sight in these new surroundings. You blink a few times to clear the sleep from your eyes and bring everyone into focus. Looking up, Sam's face is a mixture of concern and frustration. Things haven't been great between you two lately, and Chris hasn't been helping things. Leaning at Sam's shoulder with a sour expression, it's clear there's still no love lost between you. While Sam is clearly worried about you, the family scowl is obvious on both their faces. I'm going to say thank you. Thanks for coming. The worry for you wins out as Sam takes your hand before leaning in to kiss your forehead. Of course, sweetheart, I could never have been anywhere else. I don't know why talking makes me yawn. For the first time in a while, you both genuinely smile to each other before you look for the rest of your family. Susie is standing next to Sam, less worried now that you're awake and smiling. You can see Sam's worry on your daughter's face, but it quickly turns to a frown when she notices you looking at her. I'm glad you're okay. It's muttered, more than said, a grudging acknowledgement that despite your recent differences, she still cares. Yeah, thanks for coming. Susie can't help but smile back at you, rolling her eyes good-naturedly. It's great to have her here. Charlie catches your eyes. He fidgets with the edge of the blanket. You cock your head and look at him, one eyebrow raised, concerningly. So what is this? It's hard to read in the red. Questioningly. As soon as you turn to look at him, you can see Charlie tense up, his concern clear on his face. So, you're definitely good, right? He finally asked, quickly looking away. Yeah, of course I am, buddy. There's nothing to worry about. Charlie looks at you and grins, one of those infectious smiles that spreads around the room. It's always good to have him in your corner. Your smile fades as you notice your mother, staring listlessly out the window. Despite all of your best efforts, she's not been doing well lately. You alright, Mum? Your mother starts, your call clearly shocking her out of her reverie. She turns to you and smiles, and you're grateful to see the increasingly rare recognition in her eyes. Yes, dear, of course. How are you feeling? You smile warmly and nod, but before you can respond, a doctor bustles in and ushers everyone out. She asks you, for what feels like the 100th time, how you're feeling. Surprisingly well, all things considered. Excellent. There's no sign of any real damage, just a bit of a shock to the old system, pardon the pun. Not that we'd recommend you do anything like that again, of course. A couple of days at home and you should feel as right as rain. She turns to leave, but stops at the door. Oh, and the private room and care, the doctor gestures to a room, which you now notice looks rather expensive, has all been paid for by Mr. Bozeman. He left those flowers and said not to worry and to take the rest of the week off. He'll see you Monday, apparently. Seems like the least he could do. Day 180. A burden to bear. You come home from a particularly late shift to find the kitchen light still on, which isn't normally a good sign. Everyone's usually in bed by now. Softly opening the kitchen door, you find Sam sat at the table. Bills and papers are strewn in front of them, as well as what looks like to be their second pack of biscuits. They give you a quick kiss as you take a seat next to them. Sam frowns and goes back to the bill they're holding. Here's sweetheart, just looking at the numbers again. They look to the door to the pantry. Now converted into your mother's bedroom. We've been doing our best, but I think Cassandra really needs a nurse to look after her now. Suddenly the bills are all you can see. Fortunately, with the money that's been coming in and what we've been able to save, we've got more than enough to keep going. With Susie at home to help out, the nurse would only need to be part-time anyway. Sam smiles at you. I know things have been difficult, and the daily care won't be cheap, but she's your mother. We have to, really, don't we? Oh no. Wait. Is this where we can choose to put her in one of those death homes? No, we're not doing that. We're paying. Sword of Damocles sheathed, at least for the moment, you grab the papers and stuff them into a drawer. It's such a relief not to have to worry about it anymore. Or so you told Sam. Half an hour later, you're still awake, staring at the ceiling, thinking, how long will the money last? I hadn't connected those death homes for old people with my aging mother. Silence. Oh, I need to switch everything on.
Jenny? Problem? I want her fired today, now.
Don't worry, Kath, it'll be all right.
No, it won't be all right, Kath. Pack up your weapons of optical destruction and get out.
You realise you're beginning to sound like me?
I mean it, Kath.
Stay where you are, Kath.
Jenny? This is not Jenny's decision, Jeremy, or yours.
It'll be all right. I'll talk to Buxton.
Oh, good. You can tell him I'll return his wife's casserole dish at our dinner next week.
Why can't I? Oh, the bottom one's broken. Okay.
I'm sorry, Kath, you're going to have to leave.
At 11:30, it's a double bill for popular transatlantic comedy That Night.
You're letting it go to your head.
She nearly blinded me.
10 seconds,
I thought we were all part of a team these days.
Things are better, Jeremy, you know that. Just stop being so high and mighty and do your job.
You'll have me fired too.
Don't tempt me. Good evening. I'm Megan Wolfe.
And I'm Jeremy Donaldson. Our main headlines tonight.
The establishment strikes back. The World Council has agreed today to impose punitive sanctions on the people of this country.
The sanctions, which are broad-ranging, include restrictions on the supply of oil and gas, food, clothing, and even some medicines.
I'm angry about that.
But how should we react? We asked the public.
What are your reaction to the sanctions?
Well, it's fucking outrageous. My mind needs insulin. Am I supposed to get her transitioned? What's the government doing about it? What's the government doing about it?
Thanks, Patrick. Fascinating stuff.
Popular Prime Minister Julia Salisbury has released a reassuringly brave statement in response to the World Council's controversial announcement.
This international declaration is nothing short of outrageous. We are a democratically elected government with massive popular support. We do not recognise these sanctions, and we encourage other socially progressive nations of the world to both resist and ignore them. Advance have struck fear into the heart of the international community by showing that it is possible to have radical change for the betterment of the many. And whilst I wish we could improve other countries as much as we have our own, we do not rely on the help of others to thrive. This country is entirely self-sufficient. We are a team, now more than ever. And this team is on your side. Thank you.
Defiant stuff. But what do you, the public, think of our government's stance? Robin Short found out.
Hi there, I was wondering if you could spend a moment to give us your thoughts on the government.
Honestly, I think they're doing a great job. I know the assets and wealth checks have made the difference for us with the cost of the little one. And people seem, happier in the main. I always said things would get better with a woman in charge.
Over to you, fellas. Global mega corporation Remington's Fist today announced that trials have successfully completed on their groundbreaking male contraceptive product.
I think I'm going to have to play through this again and
The drug has been
take
passed
a
by the government
stance.
for general release, but the small print warns that, in rare cases, side effects can include blurred vision, enlarged genitalia, and increased risk of stroke. No double entendre intended.
But what do you, the public, think of Sophia Remington's latest venture? Patrick?
So what are your feelings on the new contraceptive pill?
I think it's a great idea. A big step forward for equality. Sophia Remington is the best thing that has ever happened to that company.
The delicate sound of thunder. A frightening start for commuters this morning, who were confronted by a somewhat sinister sight as they left their trains.
Many travellers reported feeling intimidated by the silent figures who stood motionless outside every major station in the capital. Radical extremist group Disrupt, who organised the show of strength, refused to comment on the meaning of the strange protest.
Or to apologise to this presenter for making him drop his morning bagel in surprise.
But how do we feel about these somewhat radical extremists and their upsetting methods? Robin found out.
Do you have any feelings about Disrupt?
It's all a bit noisy for me, really. As Mother always said, leave the rebelling to the rebels, Malcolm.
Bubbling up, intrepid scientist Dr. David Wong and Dr. Ingrid Svorsborg-Hawkensford today sent
Svorsborg-Hawkensford.
in which they hope to finally leave Dante's taint.
With expert opinions of the plan running the gamut from optimistically engineered to that looks like something my granddad made in his shed, it sounds like the unfortunate team are going to need all the thoughts and prayers they can get.
So what should we think about the escape plan? Patrick Bannon again.
So I'd imagine that you think this is a great plan.
Oh my God! How did you know? It's a brilliant idea. I hope everyone gets behind them so that they know that we're with them. In spirit, of course. I can't actually go diving because I'm scared of salt.
Salt is
I
scary.
am not a number. Applications finally opened today for the new Advanced Team Membership Cards, a scheme by the government to allow fast access to all the new public services being introduced daily.
The team membership cards are entirely voluntary, but will be recognised as legal identification by all major organisations, including the police, banks and, vitally, pubs and bars.
Very good thing.
And of course, there's no charge, Jeremy.
It all seems too good to be true.
Well, you've always been a cynic. But most importantly, what should you, the public, think about the new team membership cards?
Team membership cards?
Oh yeah, fantastic. I'm applying today. I mean, why wouldn't you? What are these protesters doing that they don't want us to know who their names are? Besides, have you seen the savings you can get? I'm getting one for the little one as well. Oh, how adorable. Yeah, gonna be a proper little team member, aren't you? Yes, he smiled. He smiled.
And finally tonight, Hospital pass? New images reach us today of brave Johnny Handsleeves and his doting partner Tiffany Lamour in their ongoing struggle against his horrific mystery illness.
Tiffany was forced to cancel her latest show, These Hotel Sheets and What I Did on Them, in order to devote more time to selflessly looking after the much-loved multimillionaire.
I don't know.
I'm sure they
I don't
are
know what
well
I'm supposed to
recovered.
think about these.
With some critics questioning her motives, what should your opinion be of the controversial artist for at least appearing to stand by her man?
Disgusting.
Wise words there.
Later tonight, in a bit of a switcheroo, it'll be Jeremy in the culture chair, spitting rhymes with popular rapper Jay Zus. And then we'll both be chatting with a familiar team of thespians set to take the nation by storm again.
That's all coming up on tonight's
National
Nightly
Nightly
News.
Oh. Ah. Hate doing the interference
First
thing.
tonight, thankfully, some news as we return to our main story.
The World Council today agreed that punitive and potentially illegal sanctions should be imposed upon this country. The sanctions, which come into effect immediately, aim to stop the flow of food, fuel and even some medicines from reaching your pockets.
Tonight, we have guests from across the continent to discuss this unprecedented situation. For advance, Peter Clement is at his home in Lamfordshire. Are you there, Peter?
Yes, I can hear you, Jeremy. Thank you for having me.
A momentous day, Prime Minister. Are you shaken?
Oh, I don't scare that easy, I'm afraid, old son. And neither do the people of this country.
Well, joining us is Ivan Vodovich, Foreign Minister of Urkistan. Ivan, thank you for being here.
Great pleasure. You, Megan Wolf, are like strongest guard of labour camp who wake up inside body of crazy, expensive prostitute. In my country, you will be worshipped as a god.
Okay. Minister, as one of those arguing most strongly for these sanctions, how do you feel about Advance's defiant stance?
Advance is like man who think he have big career in movies land, when actually he in dirty sanitarium, screaming at mirror and holding tiny penis in hand.
He's clearly not from Svenland, and we have like some of the cleanest mental health facilities in the continent, yeah.
And welcome to Svenland's Minister of Mojo, Björk. I'm sorry, we don't appear to have your surname.
It's just Björk, yeah. We don't use things like socially divisive surnames here, yeah.
Minister?
It's just Björk, yeah.
Right, Björk. Your country spoke in favour of Advance at the World Council today, but you were noticeably absent when it came to the actual vote.
Well, what a surprise. The hippies didn't show up for the fight.
Actually, that's quite racist, because if you must know, we were going to go to the whole, like, boat thing, yeah? But it's actually the Festival of Furelands here at the moment, where we honor the old generations. So, like, we all had to lurk our grandparents' Gleania whilst the boat was happening, and that's, like, a really, really time-consuming process, actually.
Does sound like a
You're
really
like
time-consuming
sissy
process, yeah.
You had this expression, sissy man. It's like man with tiny penis who like to wash more than once a week.
Actually, that's quite homophobic, yeah,
Oh,
because...
stop winding him up, Ivan. We're not back at the Grange now. Sorry, Jeremy. Ivan and I used to play golf back in my media days.
Yeah, he always wins.
Nothing gives him greater pleasure than grinding people's gears. The more publicly, the better.
Peter, you're like man with tiny penis who think he have tiny penis, but actually he discovered that. Oh, could it be? No, it's tiny penis.
Ivan's just worried that when the rest of the world sees how well we're doing, they'll notice all that dosh that he's got squirreled away. Because that's what these sanctions are, Megan. They're the last pathetic gasp of an establishment in collapse. Wolves at the gates, Ivan, old mate.
Good. They can join others on my wall.
Actually, in Svenland, we have, like, serious animal welfare legislation. And, like, my friend Helge, she got arrested, yeah, for killing a butterfly that was hovering over her fuel thing. I mean, in English, jam sandwich.
I used to know a girl called Jam Sandwich. She was a right cracker, too. I wonder what became of her.
We seem to be wandering a little from the news here.
It's human interest, Jeremy. The real people behind the headlines and all that. So if you're watching, Jan, give us a call. Yeah. Let's see if we can't organise a reunion.
Crash, I'm not sure about that. I'll have to run it past Mrs. Clement first, eh?
Peter, you're like man trying to empty ashes of mistresses into oncoming vent. Soon you have tiny penis and beard full of secrets.
In Finland, we don't really go in for all that restricted monogamy stuff here. We're kind of fluid, actually.
Okay, well, it seems that we are running out of time.
Yes, so before we go to the break, briefly, if you would, gentlemen, with the people of this country facing shortages and power
Possible shortages and power outages.
Yes, of course. Thank you. Possible shortages and power outages. Can you summarise your thoughts for us, Minister Bjerk?
Well, from here, yeah, you all look a bit stupid really arguing about outdated divisive concepts like money. In Finland, we replaced currency with a system of bodily fluids back in the 1970s, and that's like a really hard to sanction, actually.
That is really hard to sanction, yeah.
Your country is like man who think he invented perfect trap for giant Newton-hairy bear. When really he just standing in field
Holding his tiny penis, yes. Thank you, Minister. And finally, Prime Minister Clement.
Let me talk to your viewers here, Jeremy. Don't worry, everybody. Don't be afraid. Don't even lose a wink of sleep. We knew the rest of the world would react this way, and we're ready. As my old man used to say, you can't make a shite pie without blocking a few toilets.
Thank you,
Oh,
Minister.
I missed the censor.
We'll be back.
After these messages.
I was listening too intently to what he was saying.
Peter, I over your way this weekend. You fancy a quick 9?
Yeah, sure, front or back.
That's what I hope you're asking Megan Wolf for me.
She's out of your league, mate.
Thank you for the correction.
Well, you have to be more careful.
It's all part of his long-term plan to get fired live on the news at 6 in front of the nation.
Can someone warn him it's going a little too well?
Oh god, new censorship. Hoy's noise!
Bow to fond royalty.
What?
Should I just like curtsy?
Hang on. Have they given you the Crown Prince report?
What?
Megan?
This is Jeremy, and he'll be interviewing you.
Oh.
Yo, thanks for having me on your show, man.
It's quite all right.
Yo, just a quick one. You're not going to ask me about the chimp, are you?
Live in 10 seconds.
Because he put that get up on himself. Just saying.
Going in 5, 4, 3.
Welcome back, I'm Megan Wolf. Later, we have an exclusive first look at a theatrical sensation everyone's going to be talking about. But first, it's time to go over to the culture spot with lovely old Jeremy Donaldson, who's joined by a very special guest. Jeremy.
Thanks, Megan. I have the honour and privilege of being joined by hip-hop royalty. He's been called the son of the streets and the father of truth. Not sure how that works, but whatever. Let's welcome Jesus!
Thanks, Jeremy. Yeah, it's a real honour to be here on your show, The News. You know, as a kid on the streets, I used to watch you through a window of the shop, so to be here right now is crazy.
You've had quite the journey to be here today. Can you tell us about it?
Well, you know, I try not to, well, you know, the past is the past, and I don't like to dwell on it.
I understand.
But yeah, man, the streets is all I remember. Like, my mother donated me to a charity shop soon after I was born. Elderly lady took pity on me. You know, she let me sleep on a pile of crime fiction until I taught myself how to walk.
Wow, that's quite the childhood.
And she died tragically. Right there in my arms, man. You know, I remember a tear falling as she laid there next to the used homeware. And in that moment, I became a child of the streets. I was just 18 months old.
What a tale. What a tale. You're known for your direct and honest lyrics. Was your style informed by your troubled past?
Oh, like I said, I try not to talk about it. It's just, it's just too hard.
Of course.
But my first album is about the story of the first 4 times I stole, so I wouldn't starve. A small group of infants came to see me as their de facto
I keep forgetting that I need to change
They call me
the.
Mr. Cheese Slice. Anyway, we were like a family.
Camera shot regularly. Otherwise, people don't like it.
Recently, you've been quite outspoken about the government.
Yeah, fuck the government. Fuck Advance. Fuck Peter Clement.
What is it that you object to so vehemently?
Well, you know, they stole from us. They're taking our money and spending it, man.
Redistributing it. Actually, homelessness has been all but eliminated in the last couple of months.
So?
Surely that's a cause close to your heart?
Yeah, nah, of course, man. Very much so. I just mean, like, why do I have to pay for it, you know? Why do I have to pay
You don't. People have been rehoused on property seized from the historically wealthy. And that couldn't have been you, could it?
Look, yeah, I worked hard to be here. I built this from nothing, and I deserve to be rewarded for that.
Would you say you worked harder than, say, a farmer or a care worker?
I don't know. But if people are taking something from my music, choose to value it, buy it, who's to say I don't? And no one can take that away from me.
Not even to help, say, vulnerable children? Mr. Cheese Slice.
What is it you're trying to say?
I just don't understand where you've placed yourself politically. I mean, is it ideological or is it tactical?
Well, it's more of
Or
like...
maybe it's hereditary.
Stop trying to tie me in knots with your words, Jeremy. I let the music speak for itself. And the people agree with me.
Well, that remains to be seen. But you have given me a very easy segue out of a conversation that I promise you was much more painful for me than it was for you. So here he is with his hit song, Mrs. Ludlow's Tears.
Oh no, I'm going to do something a little different. It's a new single I've been working on.
Oh, so this is unapproved, is it?
Yeah. You love it.
Excellent. Don't worry, we've got a state-of-the-art
Uh-oh.
system. What's the worst that could happen? So here he is with a new song. Aren't we lucky? It's Jesus.
First, you're gonna pay up. You're gonna pay back.
Well, we're all different races from many different places. At any given moment, only one could be the greatest. So you can feel elation from your participation. Still 2 leaders in this motherfucking nation. Now we're getting sanctioned, talking about expansion. Why does Julie Ezra pirate massive fucking mansions? So fuck all your schemes. I don't need your freaky team, and I don't need your help to achieve my fucking dreams. So don't make a fuss when you find you're one of us. Yeah, every single one of you's a bit Jesus. And you can call me crazy, cause no one ever pays me. But I won't waste a lifetime being motherfucking lazy. I may be inventive, my taste may be expensive. But
My censoring working?
With no fucking incentive, although it's contravention of your obvious intention. I like to eat a little of the fruits in my invention. You make us the same, but we're not all the same. All our dreams, all our schemes, all our means are not the same. The best of the praise of the crest of the wave. Cause we're only equal people when we're motherfucking slaves. Take this fat, gonna stain it red. Gonna slam it into Peter Clement's motherfucking head. Cause he's thick as shit, he's got a job he's unfit for. It's time to stone a couple with a motherfucking pitchfork. So this is for the snub ones, the push and the shove ones, the folks that feel the burden of their motherfucking loved ones. Ones who had plenty like a motherfucking Bentley. The ones who now finding that their bank accounts are empty. The ones of aspiration who had to flee a nation. The ones who built a business out of dreams of perspiration. There's all sorts of people, the good and the evil. It only takes a glance to see we're not all equal. You make us the same, but we're not all the same. All our dreams, all our schemes, all our means are not the same. And the best of the brave serve the press of the waves. Cause we're only equal people when we're motherfucking slaves. Gonna take this fact, gonna stain it red. Gonna slam it into Peter Clement's motherfucking head. Cause he's thick as shit, he's got a job he's unfit for. Time to stone a puzzle with a motherfucking pitchfork. Get out of your seats, get your asses in the streets. Set a fire in the building, let him feel some fucking heat. Set your hate to go getters, you're squilling bed getters, and burn them on the paras of advances fucking letters. Gonna take his facts, gonna stain it red, gonna slam it into Peter Clemens' motherfucking head. Cause he's fake as shit, he's got a job he's unfit for. Time to steal the house and with the motherfucking pitchfork. Chase that dream, you don't need a fucking team. And advances, little dances aren't as harmless as it seems. Cause they're stale and corrupt, then your anger erupt. Then your hearts and your minds and your fists to destruct.
I mean, might as well have just censored that whole thing, I think.
Jesus there with his new song. Thank you so much for joining us in the studio. I'm sorry. I may not agree with you, but I'd just like to offer you an apology. I've just been told that there was some kind of issue upstairs, and an attempt was made to censor some of your lyrics.
What? Are you joking?
I'd just like to say to you and everyone at home that this was a mistake.
This is absolutely ridiculous.
What?
Here at the National
Did I do a
News,
bad?
we pride ourselves on remaining neutral, unbiased, and independent of any outside interference. You have my word. We will never censor ideas. Back to you, Megan.
Well, a bit of dangerous language there, sorry about that. Well, thank you to little Jeremy Donaldson for providing our
Did I do a bad?
Coming up, we'll be speaking to a couple
think
of
I did
familiar
bad?
faces about their
Don't know.
upcoming
Was that
dramatic
bad?
outing. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
I don't know what I'm supposed to do. Am I supposed to toe the line or not?
Outrageous!
Thank you.
Just to remind you, fixing that old VCR. Put a new tape. Fast ad break.
Oh, trust me. My father's going to hear about this.
I understand. This is unbelievable, Megan.
I don't know what you're talking about, Jeremy.
Ah. This is a really complicated game.
Oh, here we go. Look at him.
If we could just get you in position.
Oh, say no more. Say no more.
No.
Jeremy.
It's the maths teacher.
Vividly.
And Mr. Harris, and this is Ms. Radin.
What?
Philippa, please.
You're back together again, eh? Who'd have thought it?
Perhaps a low-order demon.
Yes, it is awfully exciting, isn't it?
Right, okay then. We're going live in 10 seconds, opening on camera 1.
Right.
5, 4, 3.
Welcome back, and no, you're not mistaken. Sitting across from us are some very familiar faces. You really are too kind, Megan. It was only a yogurt commercial, but I'm still proud of it.
Here to talk about his new show, we're joined by National Treasure Tommy Harris, the National Theatre's Philippa Radin, and National Deficit Jeff Algebra.
It's so lovely to have you all. Tommy, would you like to tell us about the show?
You know what? I'd bloody love to. It's about me. It's about my life.
And where did the idea come from?
So, right, picture this. Their legs akimbo, mid-session, sweat is pouring out of me like an immense hog. And then Cindy comes in, she says, Pete's on the phone.
That's Peter Clement, the Prime Minister.
Yeah, Pete's actually a really good mate of mine.
Oh, is he really?
Yeah, no, he comes to training sometimes. He's actually a pretty good goal sweeper. Anyway, so, Pete, he says, Toby, he thinks my name's Toby, see? He says, how would you like to spread your message of team spirit and cooperation across this fractured nation? How would you like to really make a difference in these desperate times?
What did you say?
Yeah, right, yeah.
So, Jeff, the question on everyone's lips is, what in God's name are you doing here?
Well, after the success of my debut work and all the people that I've touched, I knew that I had a career in theatre. Yeah? I've always been an admirer of Tommy from afar. So when my manager phoned and said that I'd been offered the gig as director, I was ecstatic. I whipped my trousers off and got straight to work.
Why did you do that?
I do all my best work with my trousers off.
Yeah, I've been told that too.
No, I wouldn't say so. Right, Tommy, sorry, would you just give us a sense of what the show is actually about?
It's about how hard it's been for me and some of the struggles that I've faced. It's like really getting to the heart of how tough it is to be me. I call it Tommy Harris. Jesus, that was hard.
Catchy. We actually have some clips of the process of the show. Would you mind telling us what's going on here?
Yeah, so the show is built around two things that are very important to me. It mixes scenes from my life as well as epic fantasy retellings of scenes from my life.
But Dad, you promised you'd come to my graduation.
I'm sorry, son. You're an embarrassment.
But Dad, you promised you'd come to my graduation.
Back, demon! Back to the hells! Back to the hells!
Philippa, what's it been like co-starring with Tommy Harris?
I've always dreamed of treading the boards at medium-scale regional theatres, Megan. And for once, this show really gives me something to sink my teeth into.
What's different about this show, then?
Tommy, Mr. Harris's show really lets me show my tremendous range as an actor. I've always suffered from typecasting, forced to play the same tired characters in every god-awful yogurt advert or godforsaken soap opera or, God forbid, a pantomime. But, you know, this show has really let me just go there.
Jeff, the viewers at home will be dying to know exactly what is it that you bring to the show.
Oh, good question. I think these guys would agree with me when I say that it's my steady hand on the tiller, my arm round the shoulder approach that's really brought the production from strength to strength.
Absolutely right. Jeff's contributions are immeasurable. He was our rock.
Can you give us a sneak peek of anything else that might be in the show?
Yeah, all sorts, yeah.
Yeah. We've got lots of exclusive first-hand experiences of Tommy's time in the underground sports scene.
Not the
And
underground
some
sports
epic
scene.
fantasy retellings of Tommy's time in the underground sports scene.
You'll never take the sacred path!
And am I right in saying this was officially commissioned by the government?
Yeah, all paid for by the taxpayer, which, you know, to be honest, was actually a lifesaver, really.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say that without Advance's support, we'd have had to cut the finale. Yeah.
Which frankly would have been a travesty.
Oh, God, Jesus Christ!
Wizard lollipop man.
Do this every night.
Absolutely. It's a metaphor.
For what?
Death.
And the public are footing the bill, are they?
Too bloody right they are. Between the cost of my tour bus and the dry cleaning of my ties, I'm barely scraping a profit here.
Amazing. And where can the folks at home come and see this for themselves?
We're performing all over the nation.
Oh, good.
And people can see it for absolutely free, all courtesy of Advance. Isn't that incredible, Jeremy?
Yes, it's unbelievable.
Well, thank you all so much for coming. Next time we see you, no doubt, you'll have taken our jobs.
Yeah.
That's all we have time for tonight. Join us tomorrow when I'll be interviewing the world's most attractive horse. I'm Jeremy Donaldson.
And I'm Megan Wolfe. And from all of us here, have a peaceful night.
That's the ads. Let's get reset for tomorrow, please.
Hey, we must stop bumping into each other like this, eh?
This is such a weird... I wonder how much it would change depending on my choices. Like, how different would the game be? If I was, like, really pro the government or really anti the government, rather than I'm kind of trying to tread the line in between, sloppily timed commercial breaks, yeah. But Advance were happy with it, so yay. Got my full wages, yeah. And my shares are going up. Good. That's what we like. A ladder worth climbing. It's a lazy Sunday afternoon in the summer with you and Sam making the most of both kids being out of the house. You bang your head coming out of the cupboard with the last 2 slices of homemade cake. It used to be much easier when you could store things in the pantry. It's rare for you and Sam to actually get to finish sweet things in the house, and you savour every moment. Just as you take your last bite, you hear the sound of the front door slamming. That'll be Charlie back from the Go-Getters. You can hear him practically running to come find you, and he's grinning from ear to ear when he finally does. I have some really big news! You and Sam play along, sitting attentively with bated breath. Ready? Charlie asks you as you both nod enthusiastically. With a flourish, he reveals a new badge from his pocket and proudly presents it to you both to examine as he announces, "As of today, I'm a member of the first tier of Cohesion Cadets. There's way more stuff I'm going to be doing, and I'll be working some weekends, but it's really cool." No, I'm going to be happy for him. Well done, my lad. A grown-up child. You've always had dinner as a family for important events, and tonight is no exception. You've even invited Chris around as Knowledge Branch. Well, Sam did, and that's why, apparently. This will be the last time you're going to be together for a while. So far, you've managed to avoid fighting with Chris or Susie over politics, which Sam is no doubt grateful for. Susie's spent so much time with her boyfriend lately, it feels like she's barely been at home. Given how much time they've been spending together on their own, you were a bit surprised when Susie and Zach proposed a big family dinner tonight. He and Chris have always gotten on like a house on fire, much to your irritation. And of course, Susie could never do any wrong in your mother's eyes, despite the fact you're all packed around the kitchen table, the air is happy. You take a sip of your drink and enjoy the moment. You and Zach have never seen eye to eye on matters of politics, or anything for that matter. His strong support of Disrupt is a real concern, but Sam has forbidden you from any more arguments about it. Susie stands tapping her glass with a spoon, silencing the various conversations. We have an announcement to make. It catches you by surprise, and you find yourself hoping for good news. I don't want to do a big speech or anything, but we wanted everyone together to tell you. You hope this isn't going where you think it's going. Zach and I are moving in together, she announces to choruses of congratulations from around the room. Well, I'm moving into Zach's studio for now while we look for somewhere for the 2 of us. Susie follows up quickly, clearly excited to be telling you all. That's great news, I'm happy for you both. Susie grins at you as Sam turns to her and gushes, "Oh, tell us about the places you're looking at." The room fills with excited conversation and laughter. It's great to see your daughter happy. Eventually, it's time for Susie and Zach to leave and head to their new home. Turns out while you and Sam were out this afternoon, they'd been moving Susie's things as a surprise. There are a few tears, but mostly smiles as you see them out. Even Chris has been surprisingly well behaved this evening. Hopefully, it'll all work out. You close the front door and Sam disappears upstairs. When they don't return, you go looking and find them sitting on the floor in Susie's empty room. You slide down the wall beside them and put your arm around their shoulders. Everyone has to grow up sometime. It's very true. A sign of things to come. Shopping, something that always seemed so tedious before the sanctions, has become even more of a chore now. You managed to get almost everything you needed for the family this evening, but you'll have to come back tomorrow to get through the week. There's a queue to leave the car park, though it's hard to make out why in the dark. Hopefully whatever's causing it won't be long. As the final car in front of you drives off, you realise the queue is actually due to a checkpoint set up at the exit. A friendly-looking man in an advanced uniform, COO emblazoned in a number of places on it, approaches your car and knocks on the driver's side window. You roll it down. Good evening. Nothing to worry about. I was just wondering if I could see your team membership card, please. Didn't Sam sign you both up for yours a few weeks back? You rummage in the glove box and eventually produce your card. Yep, that's all great, thanks. Don't forget to keep an eye out for the new team lottery starting up soon. Loads of great benefits to be won. You have a nice day now. The man is all smiles as he pats the bonnet of your car and waves you off. So these cards mandatory now. An invitation worth ignoring? It's Saturday, one of your few days off, and you've made the most of it. But as the afternoon draws on, the invitation sits pinned to the fridge, staring accusingly at you. The Channel 1 Gala is a mandatory work event, Bozeman was very quick to tell you. Also, don't you dare be late. Yeah, I already skipped a work weekend once. I don't think we can skip this one. Better start getting ready. You wonder if Sam will give you a lift. A drink or two might help with the enforced socialising. Hopefully it won't be too bad. After all, you're pretty good at your job. Right? Am I? Am I? You arrive on time, barely, at the Sauvignon, one of the oldest and grandest hotels in the capital. You're surprised to see a queue to get in, and quickly realise it's because people are being searched at the door by some very military-looking personnel in smart attire. While you're waiting, you can't help but notice just how very opulent the building is, possibly the fanciest place you've been to in your life. You submit to being patted down, with a sigh of relief, and are let into the hotel. Once inside, you're directed to the grand ballroom, and following the signs you marvel at the sheer scale of the place, and the amount of armed security guards. When you finally arrive, a very severe-looking woman at the door asks for your name. I'm Alex Winston. She curtly checks her list before whispering something to the waiter beside her. You've made it just in time to be seated before dinner. Please, follow Emmanuel here to your table. The waiter smiles at you and opens one of the great double doors, gesturing for you to enter. Immediately, you can see why it's called the Grand Ballroom. You pause for a second to take it all in. You feel a slight tap on your arm and Emmanuel gestures for you to follow him. He seats you at a table in the central floor area with a decent view of the stage. Clearly you're in Bozeman's good books at the moment. You're sat with some colleagues you've seen around the Channel 1 offices before but don't know that well. One of them informs you, far too excitedly, it's a very corporate evening of awards and speeches. At least the food should be good. Dinner is indeed lovely, and with the help of the, no doubt, very expensive wine, conversation flows easily enough. In fact, much to your surprise, you actually accepted with an award for Best Newcomer to the Channel 1 family. Well, this was unexpected. As you walk up to collect it, you recognise the presenter as Dr. Adrian Atkinson Blimey of Incisors fame. Wow. He thanks Advance for sponsoring this year's gala before specifically thanking the Prime Ministers Julia Salisbury and Peter Clement for being in attendance tonight. As you take to the stage, you see the frontmost central table does indeed seat the Prime Ministers, as well as Bozeman, Meghan, and some other very well-to-do types that you don't recognise. That explains all the security. As you're handed the award, Dr. Atkinson Blimey asks if you'd like to say a few words. I'm not gonna joke. I feel like that's gonna go badly. As you thank Advance, applause breaks out around the room. Both Pete and Julia stand up to magnanimously accept it before saying the night's not about them, but thanks all the same. As you head back to your seat, you see Bozeman nodding at you with a satisfied smile on his flushed face. Clearly that was the right speech. Just as you're finishing dinner, one of the other people at your table points behind you. As you turn, you see Bozeman walking briskly past with Julia Salisbury and Peter Clement in tow. You're pretty sure he was pointedly ignoring you. He seems to be introducing the Prime Ministers to a selection of people at different tables. Better them than you. You finish the rest of the meal, listen to the last few speeches and then head home. All in all, it was a surprisingly nice evening. You might actually look forward to the next one, providing Bozeman invites you to that one, of course. I don't know if I should be towing the party line or not. It's very difficult. The heat wave. I don't know what that does. Oh God.
Our gun-toting handler.
Who, Andy?
I don't know what the fuck his name is, do I?
He's here to keep us safe from people like Disrupt.
More like keep us in line. I hate guns. Give me the willies.
10 seconds, everybody.
So, we've got any actual real news tonight?
Well, the world's on fire. That good enough for you? Going in 5.
I think I'm ready.
3.
Good evening. I'm Jeremy Donaldson. Our main headlines tonight. Siege mentality. The World Council today established a military blockade to enforce the unjust and punitive sanctions now entering their 10th week. In a statement from team headquarters a short time ago, Prime Minister Julia Salisbury issued a commanding response to this unprovoked escalation.
The World Council should make no mistake. This blockade and the illegal sanctions it seeks to enforce are an act of war and will be treated as such. Any incursion, however slight, into our territory will be met with swift and deadly force. You have been warned.
Under the knife, sickly celebrity Johnny Handsleeves has reportedly opted for an experimental treatment as a last-ditch effort at curing his fatal illness. Abandoned by former partner Tiffany Lamore when public opinion turned against him, it seems poor Johnny Handsleeves has had to resort to a more extreme surgical procedure. Leaked medical records revealed this file photo of Johnny's surgeon. Pictured here at the start of his career, Dr. Allen is known for his steady hand, excellent bedside manner, and a particularly overzealous scalpel hand. In it to win it, exciting news from Advance today with the announcement of a new monthly prize draw for all team membership card holders.
Might win some money.
Every month, lucky winners from across the country will be picked at random to receive what Team HQ are describing as unique prizes worth more than money used to be. Take-up on the scheme has been much higher than expected, and if this lucky winner's delighted face is anything to go by, it looks like pretty soon everyone's going to have one. Hard pill to swallow. Throngs of men take the streets in response to the release of new pharmaceutical responsibility. Remington Smith's revolutionary male contraceptive pill first hit our shelves earlier this month, and as a result, scores of men have been queuing around the block and around the clock ever since. Pharmacies up and down the territory report that they are unable to meet the demand for the wildly popular drug, with some customers camping outside for upwards of 72 hours.
Might be my feminism coming out of me here.
Says they've scaled up production and will soon
Hell yes.
manufacture enough to
Male
satisfy even the
contraceptive
randiest of consumers. Leaders shipping out. The trap scientists undertaking a bold escape from Dante's taint have revealed which of their 2 erstwhile leaders will spearhead their journey to freedom.
Oh, do I have to choose
Well,
which?
throughout their careers, it's been clear that Doctors Wong and Swarsborg and Horgensford have worked
Swarsborg
best
and
together.
Horgensford.
It seems one of them is now going to be taking a back seat. Ingrid has always been the tempered coolant to David's flagellarized metal. So it's no surprise that with the unexpected challenges the team have faced, they chose her methodical and effective approach to getting the team home safely. Critics, however, have speculated that her strategy may be delayed, as her name takes much longer to say.
That is true.
Burning down the house? The capital was put on high alert last night after disrupt terrorists set an emblematic fire in the heart of Parliament Park. Violent conflict broke out at the demonstration after a mob of so-called protesters from the radical group launched an unprovoked attack on community cohesion officers in attendance.
I like the logo.
While the burning
It's a very
fist
cool
of
logo.
resistance certainly seems a powerful image in these difficult times, fire officials were quick to point out that had they not arrived in time, and I quote, the whole bloody city might be yesterday's burnt crumpets. All this, and I'll be talking to some people with fascinating medical conditions, as well as one of the contenders in this year's Feline Football Championship, and her proud owner. That's all up on tonight's
Is there going to be a cat?
National Nightly News.
God. I really don't like doing these wave things. How's the temperature doing?
But first tonight, our team of correspondents has been dispatched to every corner of the country to see how the people of this great nation of ours...
I feel like I should be getting paid for this. This feels like a job.
First, let's go to Megan Wolf in Shining-on-Sea to see what this scientific community has to say. Megan, how's the weather there?
It's absolutely glorious, Jeremy. Thank you for asking. I'm here with Dr. Anna Burns at the University of Princeford. Are you enjoying the weather as much as I am?
Oh, yes, it's wonderful, isn't it? My eyelids are sweating.
And you're part of a team carrying out a study into just what's causing this unbelievable heat, is that right?
Yes, that's correct. Yes, we want to be able to reassure the public once and for all that there's absolutely nothing to worry about and that they can enjoy their sunstroke and fossil fuels in peace.
You sound very confident about that.
Oh, very much so. I can say without any hesitation, there's really no cause for any concern here. I've actually left my car running.
So tell us about this experiment.
Well, we take data from weather stations
What,
from
the
all over
fan's
the world,
gone off.
along with atmospheric samples, and we take all that and we feed it into this state-of-the-art computer, and very soon we'll be getting a high-tech readout of the results.
Blimey, that sounds very fancy.
I should just say, none of this would be possible without the generous support of Remington's Fist. This is all thanks to their unrivaled investment in our future, and may I just say, complimentary personal anecdote. Oh, here we go. And, as expected, everything is absolutely fucked. Hang on. This can't be right.
Right, but obviously you said a second ago that everything is absolutely fine, so...
Well, actually, under concern level, it just says, why, God, why?
We should be celebrating these wonderful results, I think.
Yeah? We need to evolve gills within 40 years.
You look thirsty.
Here it just says, shit.
Look at you. This is meant to be a celebration. Can't go around looking like that.
Shit.
There you go, much better. Can I just say thank you again to Sophia Remington for providing all of this.
Everyone, we don't have long. Time is running
out. Absolutely right. That is all we have time for.
Abandon hope and return to the forest.
Enjoy that. I'd like to thank Dr. Burns for just one opinion on the climate.
The sea will reclaim us all!
There you have it, Jeremy. Proof, if proof be need be, that everything is just fine. I'm Megan Wolf, here with science. Back to you.
Megan Wolf there, attempting to do some actual news. Next, heads over to Robin Short, who's in Scritchford with some of the winners of this week's team membership lottery. Robin?
Thanks, Jeremy. I'm here in Scritchford with Gary Failsafe, a janitor at the local school, and Amelia Jackhammer, an aspiring poet. Both of you were drawn at random from those who hold team membership cards to receive this week's amazing prize. How do you feel?
Filled with fervent euphoria.
Yeah, good, yeah.
And all that we had to do was fill in a quick form or two.
Wow, that sounds so convenient. But we're all dying to know, what have you won?
That's right, Robin. I've won dinner with Julius Salisbury at one of the capital's top restaurants.
Ooh, swanky.
And I've been invited to Peter Clement's house to help him dredge the gutter in.
That's
Right.
absolutely terrific. You must both be over the moon.
I've written a poem about it.
So, can you tell me about the moment when you first heard the news?
Well, I was battling against a particularly difficult floater, probably one of the sixth formers, when the headmaster came.
It probably was one
I
of the
was
sixth
involved in a
ones, yeah.
similarly brutal conflict with a particularly arduous stanza.
So you were both polishing turds?
No, I don't like to polish them. I like to keep them intact for my collection.
Oh.
Bit weird, my dude.
How unexpected.
I don't polish turds. I write poetry.
Potato, potato. So, Gary...
Do you think Peter Clement's going to let me keep the contents of his downpipe.
There's no harm in
You're a
asking, I
strange
suppose.
man.
Would you like to hear one?
No, thank you. Gary, when you signed up for team membership, was it in hopes of winning the lottery, or were there other reasons?
I like a flutter, of course, but no, the boss said I had to sign up to keep coming into school.
Very sensible. It's important to know who we're trusting around our children.
Oh, I have an unpublished book of sonnets about children. Perhaps you'd like to hear one.
Really would not like
Or
to
an
hear one of your
anthology
poems.
of haikus on the death of innocence.
I'd rather hear about Gary's turd collection.
Really? I thought you might say that.
Oh.
Are you all right?
Yes, it's coming. It's inspiration and it's delicious.
Right you are.
Today on the show there's no news. Just a man who keeps multiple poos.
Yeah, this big one's my favourite. See how it's fibrous, really lovely texture.
Would you encourage other people to enter for their chance to win?
Well, if it's colour you're looking for, take a gander at old Blue Eyes here.
The national news lost its way when it covered some crap on a tray.
Some of these are quite rare.
Maybe that was unfair.
And that's all we have time for today. Back to you, Jeremy.
Thanks, Robin. What a lucky pair they are. And finally in this segment, it's over to Patrick Bannon, who's gone to the smelliest town in the country to see how the unprecedented weather is affecting the locals. Patrick?
Hello there, Jeremy. Hello, yes. I'm here live in Grizzleford, which has recently voted the
Grizzleford is the
smelliest
smelliest town in the country.
And I
You
have
do
to
all
say
know that.
You know, in this heat, the smell really is. I mean, it's something else. Barry Lardons, mate, you've lived here your whole life. How'd you put up with the stink?
Well, we're just all very proud of our achievement, to be honest with you. You can tell that, look at him, proud as punch. Do you know what it's like, son, being the second smelliest town? No, I don't. Living in the shadow of Arseminster. Oh, smug fucks. But who's laughing now, eh?
What, not me, that's for sure. So what happened, mate?
Right, the good people from Remington's Fist came in and saved the day with their factory.
You're talking, of course, about the newly built Flard factory.
Yeah.
I mean,
gave us
Flard
this
does
big
smell really bad.
presentation on jobs and growth. But as soon as we heard about the stench, we paid them whatever they wanted to put it here.
Does the stink not affect your life in every way, Barry? I mean, perhaps if you're filling in a tax return or completing the physical act of love.
It's strong at first, but you get used to it after several weeks of your first bout of sickness. The judges were very impressed.
So, what's sickness?
Oh, that's nothing to worry about. It takes a few minutes before you develop any symptoms. Now, folks are saying something about the production line and how they dump carcasses directly into the water main, but I think it's probably the fume valves on the high street.
On the high street? Should I see a doctor? What are the symptoms?
Well, the first one is asking stupid questions. Then folk experience a loss of inhibition.
Fuck off, do they? When was the last time you brushed your teeth, you stinking old tramp?
Next recording is a period of randomly bursting into song, followed immediately by delusions of grandeur.
I can read from another song of my life. Hello, it's sexy Patrick Bannon, and he's wearing sexy shorts now. Oh my God, look at me. I'm like a stallion. I'm gorgeous. Why didn't you tell me? I should take my shirt off. You know what? I'll even let you touch me if you want.
That will be the bout of undeserved self-confidence.
Love the Bannon. Feel the Bannon. Oh, man. What's the point?
And the ennui. All that's left now are the hallucinations and unconsciousness.
Nana Dottie? Is that you? Why are you made out of elbows?
Why are you made out of elbows?
Don't worry, folks. Once he wakes up, he'll be just fine. We'll just find a place to stick him where it won't matter how many times he evacuates his bowels. Right, that's all here from Grizzleford, a town that's really making a stink. I'm Barry Lardons. Back to you, Jeremy.
Thanks, Barry. With a naval blockade being set
I
up
like
around
Barry
our coastline
Lardons.
as we speak, when we come back, I'll be talking to 3 members of the general public who appear to be here purely for medical reasons. Don't go away. Unless, of course, you've got something better to do. We'll be back after these messages.
1 minute
This next section features a potentially controversial guest. Advance may request some censorship if he goes too off topic. You've done a great job so far keeping everyone happy, so let's keep up the good work.
And I can't do this anymore.
I really don't know whether I should do what Advance wants me to do or not.
What do you mean? Jeremy?
My mic is still.
I got an A+. I'm getting good at this job. I should get a pay rise, I reckon.
That's what I'm talking about? Catfall? We should be doing an interview with the War Minister, or a report from Grantham Downs. Even the weather will be more fucking relevant than this.
Jeremy, please, just breathe. It's just something light to keep people's minds off things.
Exactly, which is wrong. People's minds should be very much on things. Christ, it's so fucking hot.
Please take your seats as quickly as you can.
I can't do this anymore, Jenny. I've had enough. That's it. This is just
10 seconds. Get over yourself, Jeremy. Why don't you stop feeling sorry for yourself for 5, 4, 3.
Welcome back to the National Nightly News with me, your host, Jeremy Donaldson. Later, we'll be talking to the captain of the Territory's first cat football team, Professor Pumpkin. But first, I'm joined by 3 guests with some balmy bodily behaviours. Joining me is a woman who's been hiccuping for over 9 months. Isn't that right, Miss Piercy?
Yes, that's right.
Yes. Tell us, what brought all this on?
Well, it's all a bit of a blur, Jeremy, to be totally frank with you. See, I was watching your show and I remember seeing the news about the election, and it hasn't stopped since.
Fascinating stuff. Also here is Frankie Steampipe. Perhaps you could explain to us exactly what your physiological foreboil is.
I'm here to say it's high time people like me were respected. We're constantly overlooked in the workplace, we're whispered about on buses, and we're asked politely to leave children's birthday parties. And it's disgusting. I'm sorry, my bowels have comic timing.
And finally, I'm joined by a man who answers every question honestly, even when it isn't aimed at him. How do you cope with that, Mr. Truman?
With a combination of booze, self-hatred, and hardcore pornography.
Is that
Not according to my therapist.
Well, in that case, let's speak to Rose. Tell me, how does the hiccuping impact you?
I get shushed a lot, which is hard.
Don't forget about that pesky power button on the fan.
It's really affected my confidence.
Well, I find it really fucking irritating.
Do people tend to believe your story?
Fuck no.
Actually, I've been surprised at how much support I've received.
And Frankie, why have you come here today?
Because my wife left me, and I was hoping that the fame would win her back.
We've started a group for people with ailments deemed broadly comical by society. It's called Take Us Seriously.
That's right. And we bloody well mean it.
And who's joined so far?
A bunch of fucking losers.
It's just us so far.
And how much success have you had?
Well, we've seen some real positive changes.
I don't want to toot my own horn, but it's been a runaway success.
Shit all. Not a single person come to our fun run, and all of our leaflets fell in the canal.
Well, Miss Piercy, some people are saying your condition was actually caused by the shocking events of that night. What do you think?
Come down, Mr. Donaldson, that's absolute rubbish.
What it'd be like to have a pair of tits.
Could you? I'm sorry, it's very hot. What was I thinking?
That you're a team fuck puppet?
No.
Or a sellout cunt?
Apologies. Just a reminder that he can't help it. And hey, if this isn't live television, then what is it?
Fuckfest of propaganda masquerading as journalism.
Right, Frankie, Rose, tell us.
I don't know whether to censor those things or not.
Yes, we're holding a sponsored run in Capital Park next weekend. It's called the No Smiles 13 Miles.
No, it's called the No Laugh Half. What did I say before the show?
That it was a team pulling Jeremy Donaldson's strings.
No, I didn't say.
Wow, we may have to end that there, unfortunately. What a harmless bit of fun.
No, this is exactly what I'm talking about. We demand respect.
What's...
What's...
I'm talking to Professor Pumpkin. A ginger tabby with a world-class pair of penalty paws. Is that really necessary?
No, it isn't. Let go. Not you.
Unhand him at once. Enough. That's enough. Enough.
What are you doing?
Trying not to piss myself.
Alex,
don't you dare. Don't you fucking dare cut the ads before I tell you to. Now, you in the broadcast centre. Bozeman's little scapegoat.
Me?
You listen to me. You cut the ads before I tell you to, and I will kill every single person in this studio.
Do I do it?
I am thinking about it.
Do I do it?
I've been thinking about it for a long time. We all should be.
What do I do?
It's so fucking hot in here. Do you remember when we used to do the real news? Before it was all lottery winners and bloody cat football? We are on the brinks of a siege the likes of which the world hasn't seen in hundreds of years. The enemy is at the gates, and I'm stuck here talking to these three fucking idiots.
I think my hiccups have stopped.
You three, get the fuck out of my studio. Go on, now, go! Before I change my mind. Jenny, lock the doors. Jenny, lock the doors.
Yes, Jeremy.
Now, good. Yes. Now, good. Right. Yes. You in the broadcast centre.
Me?
Alex, you listen to me.
Hello.
You pay attention. Now, I'm sure you've already loaded up exactly what you're going to play in the commercial, but today is going to be a little bit different.
Oh.
Look to your right. Yes, really. Look to your right. There is a VHS tape, and I want you to load it into one of your machines. And when I say so, and not before, you play it. You've got about 15 seconds, so I wouldn't waste any time. Now, all cameras.
I assume you aren't replaying that tape. This station does not negotiate with terrorists. I hope I've made myself clear. You seem to know what to do.
Every single thing that comes out of this studio is either one-sided or banal. We're going to show the other side.
I'm trying to, but I might end up not playing it just because I'm rubbish at...
Play the fucking tape. Play the fucking... I don't want to hurt any of you. See, anything I don't like, I will not hesitate.
I just want to see what's on the tape.
Reset the system for the third segment. I imagine the ratings are going to be through the roof.
Was that the right decision? I don't know.
Team membership card is an ID card, no matter what they try to tell you. But why should you trust us? Another faceless organization, a shadowy figure with a distorted voice. You've seen it so many times in the movies. Well, this is not a movie.
My name is Alan James. I used to try and shock people for a living, for entertainment. But now we live in a time where perhaps you need to be shocked. Perhaps we need to wake up. Advance are coming for our freedoms. They are coming for the fruits of our labours. They will take our wealth. They will euthanize our parents and smiling throughout. They will turn our children against us if we voice our concerns. We don't have to accept it. A great many people already won't. You can resist.
And the
You
studio
can
doors are all
disrupt.
still locked?
Find us.
Yes.
Talk with us.
So what now?
It isn't hard.
I don't know.
We're everywhere.
This wasn't what I planned. I mean, some of it was. I had a speech, look. But this was unexpected.
So what now, Jeremy?
It was supposed to be your day off. It was supposed to be your day off.
Please, don't do any more stupid things today.
How long, Jenny? How long?
You're already live.
Welcome back to the National Nightly News. Joining me, unexpectedly, for I very much imagine will be my last broadcast, are two new guests. Jenny works here at the National Nightly News and is someone I consider well, a friend. And next to her is... What's your name?
Andy.
What's your name? Andy's a policeman. Only we don't call him that anymore. He's a community cohesion official.
Officer.
Sorry?
It's community cohesion officer, CCO.
And how's that feel, Andy? Being rebranded?
It's good. It's not about confrontation anymore. You know, the force had its fair share of problems. The team doesn't have as many.
But it still has some.
I couldn't say.
Couldn't or wouldn't?
I don't know what you want me to say.
Christ, you're fucking useless, aren't you? We'll come back to you later. Jenny?
Don't want to be on the news, Jeremy.
That's perfectly understandable. You'd want to do this. Jenny, why did you join the National Nightly News team?
I always wanted to work in news.
Yes, but why specifically this program? The National Nightly News.
It was the news everyone trusted.
Was?
Is. Do you really want to quibble semantics at gunpoint?
Is there something else you'd rather discuss?
There's a great big Alan James-sized elephant in the room you seem to be ignoring.
What do you mean?
I saw your face when that hood came down. You didn't know, did you?
It's about the message, not the messenger.
Like I said, you didn't know.
No. I didn't know. The people I met were with... He wasn't there. I didn't know it was Alan James.
I'm sorry. But seriously. Alan fucking James.
I love that we're still worried about swearing when he's holding everyone to gunpoint.
He's a good speaker. He's popular in the country.
Not right.
Look, forget Alan James. There is still something deeply wrong. And you know it, Jenny. And you know it, Andy. And you at home, you know it too. Meanwhile, I'm interviewing a guest who stinks of shit. Patrick is paddling about in shit. And Robin is literally interviewing someone who collects the fucking stuff. I mean, it's not sophisticated, Paul. What a metaphor. We are sleepwalking our way into oppression, and the news isn't saying anything. We're not saying anything.
Says who? Alan fucking James.
What are all those scientists working on at Grentham Downs? What are they testing underground at Altergrave? Andy, your turn. Make yourself fucking useful. How many people have you brought in for consultations just because they weren't carrying or didn't have team membership cards?
Oh, well, there's other forms of identification that we will accept.
For how long?
We're just here to help.
Then why do you need these? Not really help when it's offered at gunpoint, is it, Andy?
Probably not.
Let me demonstrate it for you. Let me help you. You read these cards with my notes on it, and you'll probably digest a fact. That'd be helpful, wouldn't it, Andy? Knowing a fact?
What? I don't...
Do you want my help, Andy?
Yes, whatever you say, yes.
Security are here, Jeremy.
Eat it.
What?
Eat the fucking news, Andy, or I'll force it down your fucking throat.
Jeremy, stop.
Go on.
Really?
Eat it. Eat it, you fucking bully.
Jeremy, stop. We will kill you. Please, don't make me watch that. Don't make me watch that.
Of course. You're right.
I love that rather than just taking this off air, we're like trying to make it into a good
Sorry,
program.
everyone. Sorry, everyone. You can put the card down now, Andy. You can go now. You too, Jenny. Fuck off over there. We're nearly done. All cameras on me. This new regime of ours is so seductive. I understand that. But before we all hand off our freedoms, should we ask to whom we're handing them over? Don't you want to know what's being done in your name?
It's just like instinct to censor when it tells me to
On
censor.
record high. Again, if you care. Shouldn't someone ask advance how they plan to deal with this blockade? How many years or months of supplies we have? Why aren't we asking these questions instead of, whose shit is this? There's a cat backstage dressed as a fucking goalie, for Christ's sake. He's even got the little guns.
I mean, I do want to see the cat dressed as a goalie. I'm not lying.
That's why her arranged
I'm disappointed we haven't got to the cat.
I didn't know it was going to be him, but I guess that just about sums it up. We are all up Ship Creek with a paddle made of Alan fucking James. Christ is also fucking pointless. I was going to quit. Take a holiday. Try something else. Out of the limelight. Maybe try having a relationship. I hear they're nice. Never tried. I loved them. And now, well...
God, Jeremy, don't!
I've tried my best to be honest with you.
Oh, no.
But this just isn't the news anymore. And I'm sorry. I've lost this fight.
Alex, think of the consequences.
I've let you down.
Please, we can't
All of it.
This summer,
I didn't want to see what might have happened. But let's go to Bumlins instead! Yay! Oh, we got lots of achievements there. And look how awesome I was! Yeah! Yeah! Woo! I'm so awesome! I'm so awesome! I mean, advanced were angered. Adequately edited! I'm getting better at editing. I'm so good. I'm so good at my job and I got a bonus. Whoop, 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 whoop. Yeah. I'm so awesome at my job. Oh, yeah. Tape to remember. You wake up still partly in shock from what you saw on the news last night, what you had to edit on the news last night. When you come downstairs, you find your family sat in the living room waiting for you. You take a seat on the sofa between Sam and Susie. Sam swallows, hesitating before starting. We were so worried about you last night. After Jeremy, everything that happened. Sam shakes their head. I wonder what they'll do with him now. Are you okay? Can't shake the feeling he might be right. Sam looks at the kids, then back at you. We saw you chose to play that tape. They paused before continuing. And I couldn't help but wonder why. I didn't feel like I had a choice. What? That's not good enough. Disrupt to bad people. I can't believe you did that. Charlie's outburst seems to come out of nowhere and no one in the room is prepared for it. Do you even think about how this stuff affects people? You're a fucking idiot. Sam tries to interject Charlie, but he's already slammed the door. Charlie was always a bit black and white about this sort of thing. For what it's worth, Alex, I think you're in an impossible situation and somehow you managed to make the right call. Sam throws their arms around you. Only you were stuck in that studio having to make that choice. No one can criticise what you did, and I'm proud of you. You've never been so grateful to have Sam support you. You take a deep breath and gather your thoughts. It's all a lot to take in. You're not sure you fully processed what happened last night, let alone what Charlie and Sam think about it all. You look to your daughter. I know this is an incredibly difficult thing and we don't always agree, but I do think you made the right choice. Susie smiles at you. You had to play it, there was just no other option. You put an arm around her and give her an affectionate squeeze. It's nice you've at least got some company. The TV is playing through some old Western show, but it's not quite as distracting as you'd hoped. You were never going to please everyone. Questionable choice. You got off work early today. A rare enough occurrence to put a spring in your step. As you close the front door, you can hear an excited conversation bubbling from the kitchen. Clearly someone's popped around for a cuppa on Sam's Friday off. Hopefully there were still some biscuits left. As you enter, you see Sam, Susie and Zach are all laughing and discussing something. As soon as she sees you, your daughter turns around and enthusiastically presents her hand, which sports a prominent diamond ring. Look, Zach proposed, we're engaged. Oh my god, that's amazing, I'm so happy for you. The pair of them end up staying for dinner. They've moved pretty quickly, but when you know, you know. You're generally pleased for them, whatever happens. Can't stand in the way of true love. A burden born. It's been 6 months since you and Sam last discussed Grandma's ever-increasing medical costs, and Emma, while very pleasant, has proved as expensive a nurse as you'd feared. You can't quite believe it's been that long already, but the sanctions are really starting to hit home now, and unfortunately the government's only solution to help the ailing elderly is a day trip to the transition centre. Why does everything seem to come back to money? This time it's you at the kitchen table surrounded by bills and paperwork when Sam comes to join you. Today, you told Emma there was really nothing more you could do, except an expensive experimental new treatment that might not even help. Oh, Emma told you there was nothing more you could really do. Sometimes your mum wants the treatment. More often, she talks about visiting a transition centre. It's hard to know which she really wants. Sam puts a hand on yours. What are we going to do, honey? She's your mother. It has to be your choice. Ah! She's my mum. We do whatever we can. Let's get this treatment. It's a difficult choice. You never know when you might need that money, particularly for the kids. What if Charlie gets in an accident? What if Zach and Susie's new house floods and they need your help? But what if you could give them a few more good years with their grandmother? Surely that's worth the cost. I'm going to resist the transition centre for as long as the game lets me, I think. I don't like the sound of it. The 20-week war. This is all changed. Haven't got a fan anymore, so that's good.
While they try and fashion a nutritious meal out of a can of condensed milk, a cow's tongue, and some rhubarb. Not one to miss.
So, Julia's team have asked me to ask you to keep it light. Well, what does that mean? It means to do that thing you do where you turn politicians into humans. Just don't get drawn into talking about the war or politics in general. They do know this is the news, don't they? You didn't hear this from me.
Don't know what my middle panel's all about. Oh.
Including all the tabletop action.
Apparently, there's a group team HQ right now. I think she's giving a speech or something tonight. They'll get it on the late news. Oh, great. So they get the brains and we get the performing monkey. Sometimes you sound just like him, you know.
Which tells the cautionary tale of one brave young lady's battles to survive the cruel administrations of our neighbours. At 11:25, it's Incisors. And tonight, Dr. Adrian Atkinson Blimey will be getting his teeth into Fiona from Hamble Bambleby, who's invented
10 seconds, everybody.
twist on the humble biscuit. And that takes us.
Oh, I haven't done the advert.
Going in 5, 4, 3.
It's time to join Megan and the team for the National Nightly.
Good evening. This is the National Nightly News. I'm Megan Wolfe. It's the 140th day of war. Our main headlines tonight. Company of Heroes. Skirmishes on land and sea again today as our armed forces tested the mettle of the World Council's illegal blockade. Advance's strategy of multiple small-scale incursions into the disputed zone is certainly keeping the enemy on high alert, unable to work out where or when the next strike will come. Sadly, however, more casualties were reported today, and as the weeks and months of this war make ever more demands on our armed services, those numbers will, tragically, only continue to rise. Don't starve. Advance's food programme moved from strength to strength today as rationing depots were opened in the last remaining unfed areas of the territory. The rationing depots have been constructed in record time, and the government's agricultural coordination strategy has seen shelves restocked with increasing regularity. However, with a reported rise in mental and physical health issues since the imposition of the blockade, critics have questioned whether those smaller communities which are only now starting to receive help could have been better and quicker served.
Must be played.
7 days to die. The recent decision to allow those with long-term health conditions to access transition centres has today been declared an overwhelming success. Previously available only to those in their final years, the expansion of the service has been met with relief by the many organisations calling for it to be opened up to the wider community. With dwindling medical supplies leaving many of our most vulnerable facing chronic pain, it can come as no surprise that the transition centres have found themselves stretched to capacity. Populace. More than 11% of the population have thus far failed to register for a team membership card, a worrying statistic given that the cards are a legal requirement from midnight tonight. While applications are still open for those who like to run fashionably late, they can expect a few tricky questions from advance. Start me up. Disrupt spokesman Alan James held an impromptu rally today in the northern city of Mankipool. Large crowds gathered to hear the band speaker prove Disrupt are still able to capture the public's imagination. Community cohesion officers found themselves challenged by the unruly mob element always present at Disrupt events, but thankfully managed to keep violent incidents to a minimum. And finally tonight, our mutual friend. Bail was denied in the High Court today for shamed former National Nightly News anchor Jeremy Donaldson. The presenter will be transferred to new lodgings at Pension Ridge Prison, while the lengthy preparations for his trial, which is still 18 months away, begin. Following his very public breakdown on this programme 10 weeks ago, the once-loved presenter was disarmed and taken into custody by the Community Cohesion Team.
I wonder what would have happened if I hadn't cut to the adverts.
But first tonight, with the war about to enter its 21st week, I'll be chatting with Peter Clement live in an exclusive team talk from his home in Lanfordshire. Don't go away. You won't want to miss a second of tonight's National Nightly News.
If anyone in chat, by the way, has got anything,
Later in the programme, I'm thrilled to
any
say I'll be
input
talking with
they
mega
want
pop
to
star
make,
Lil C, who's going to be treating us to a world premiere of her new single. And
any
then
of the
after that,
decisions I'm
in
making,
part
feel
3,
free
we've
to
got something
speak up.
new I promise you won't want to miss. But first tonight, let's check in with Prime Minister Peter Clement, who's coming to us through the magic of television all the way from his home in Lanfordshire. Are you receiving me, Prime Minister?
Loud and clear, Miss Wolf. Loud and clear.
Well, let's start with the obvious. What's that in your hand, Prime Minister?
Cheeky cow. But yeah, it's cow.
No, I spoke today to the people.
What? I don't know what.
The old man used to say...
a promise is worth keeping?
There's something like that, only with assholes.
So, I've heard from my sources that you and the illustrious Mrs. C plan to take your winter break somewhere a little different this year.
That's right, we're planning a walking holiday right here in the territories, which is different for us, because like you, Megan, I've always been a big fan of those warm foreign beaches.
Did you make this decision because of the blockade, Prime Minister?
Well, now that's a good question. Well, as you know, while the blockade has effectively restricted the flow of goods into the country, we and our neighbours have continued to allow unimpeded travel for business leaders, ministers and such. So, although me and the missus could theoretically go to that gorgeous beach I just mentioned, it just doesn't smell much like team spirit to me. After all, as my old man used to say, when life gives you shite, make shite pie.
It works just as well with lemons and lemonade.
I suppose it does.
Prime Minister, maintaining a healthy body like yours at a time of national crisis must require some demanding planning. What's your regime and how do you go about it all?
Well, the truth be told, it's all down to Claude, my infinitely patient personal trainer. He's a man with a plan. I'm just the prat with a fat.
Wow, on that very subject, how are you and Mrs. C handling living on rations?
Well, let me tell you, Megan, back in the 50s, when I worked for you backstage for your Patrick Brannan's dad, did you know I did that?
I think everyone knows that, Prime Minister.
Well, what you probably didn't know was that Graham Bannon was a right tightwad, paid the bare bloody minimum and still found every possible excuse he could to dock your pay even further. I remember he once docked me a whole fiver for having an unacceptably smelly lunchbox, type bastard. Anyway, what I'm saying is back then I ate a lot less than I am now, even under rationing. We all did. And let's face it, there are still plenty of people in this country who could afford to lose a little bit of weight.
What are you implying? No, but seriously, Prime Minister, we know you're very busy, but one final question, if I may.
Oh, well, go on then.
When you get home from a long day, your head full of the territory's hopes and fears, what music do you listen to when you work out to take your mind off things?
Well, I know I've got a bit of a reputation for being an old fuddy-duddy, but I'd be lying if I didn't say there's something about Little C that just demands one's attention.
Well, let's hope you stay watching, Prime Minister, because she is going to be talking and performing live after the break.
Oh, I'll be watching. After all, as my old man used to say, everything's a treat on a boring Friday with nothing but the wind up your shunt.
It's Wednesday, Prime Minister.
I think the expression still stands.
Peter Clement, thank you for joining me.
I just don't know
you at
what's
home,
going
but
on.
I think there's something kind of inspirational there. I know I feel safer. When we come back, Lil C is going to be giving us the debut performance of her new single, and I'll be getting to meet her. As her biggest fan, I don't mind telling you I'm pretty excited. Don't go away. We'll be back after these messages.
1 minute back. Gripping stuff.
Was that even news?
I think you forgot to ask him what his favourite number is.
Oh, I must have forgotten that in all the excitement.
So assuming it's not vodka, what do you think's actually in that milk? I reckon it's the tears of his enemies.
You are one disturbed individual.
Sour Coke.
I only got an E.
Of our new society.
I was trying.
Territory that chooses to live in fear.
Turns out multitasking might not be my
or
forte.
avert our eyes at the sight of injustice. But we are a brave.
You'll no doubt have spotted the updated mixing disc.
Yeah.
New buttons during the next sections.
Oh God.
First, we'll need applause when the guest enters and before her song. Don't worry, I'll walk you through it when we get there.
As a team, we
I-
have
oh,
built
good Lord.
world-leading scientific and cultural communities. As a team,
It's going to go horribly wrong, isn't it?
we've kept our people well fed throughout this war. Because as a team, we cannot fail to thrive, even in this most challenging of times. And one day, soon now, when this turbulent
I've never heard of her before.
She's big, really big.
Really?
future,
Is she any good?
Nah,
As a
of course
team.
not. She dog shit. But kids go mad for her, absolutely mad.
Live in 10 seconds.
Hang on, Colin, you've got kids.
Yeah, I've got about 6 or 7, I think.
6 or 7, I think.
5, 4, 3.
Thanks for coming back. Later, we have an exciting new feature that we just know you're going to love, so stay tuned for that. But first, I'm really excited for our next guest. She rose to prominence as the delightful
Sound effect buttons have unlocked. Hold down the left shoulder button now and select the applause to lock in your choice. Just like the Hepatitis adverts to the right idea.
20. Let's give it up and welcome Lil C. May I just say, you look
She's trying to be Ariana
incredible.
Grande.
Oh, thanks, Dave. I'm doing this new regime and it really does work.
What's the regime?
And my manager suggested it to me. It basically involves bathing in like cabbage water and then having the leaves sucked out of you while you sleep.
Wow, is that healthy?
Well, look at me, Meg. The leaves are my only nourishment.
Yep, they certainly are. Now, you'll have to forgive me, but I'm somewhat of a super fan, so I'm sorry if I get a bit starstruck.
Oh, bless you. I've never actually heard of you before, so if you do get a little tongue-tied, I can always carry the interview.
Oh, that's good to know. So your first album, F My Face Together, it hit shelves this summer and it just exploded. I mean, what was that like for you?
Bonkers, just so weird. I was in all the papers and the magazines. Overnight, I went from that like annoying little girl from that show to that like sexy little girl from that show.
Wow, that must have been bizarre.
Not really. It was just like any other morning. You know, get up at 5, go on a 4-mile run, have 3 meetings on my cabbage bath, but then only then was my dad actually talking to me.
Oh, of course. I mean, the famed country singer, Billy Bob Jean Short. I didn't know you'd been estranged.
There's nothing that strange about
Billy
it,
Bob
Megan.
Jean Short.
Okay, yes, he may believe that aliens told him to hate women, but there really isn't anything to prove that he's wrong.
So, this newfound explosion to your popularity, I mean, did that change your life?
Well, I had to start wearing like nice underwear, you know, for the paparazzi, but as my manager says, best to make the most of it before I'm 30.
Is that right? So, what's the album about?
So I thought it was about like how pretty and great I am, but actually it's about monetizing youth, I think, or about like promoting an unrealistic standard of beauty or something.
Your manager again?
Yeah, he says insecurity is an opportunity.
Ooh. Do you think he'd be happy with you telling us all this?
Telling you all what? It really doesn't matter what I say here. I'll do my dancing and then this part will all be forgotten about.
Oh. Well, yeah, I mean, we're going to see some of those famous dance moves very shortly because you're going to be performing your new single, aren't you?
Yeah, it's from my album Put It In My A Together and it's out tomorrow.
So soon, after the last one?
Oh yeah, I've actually released 2 albums since lunchtime and a clothing line during this interview. So this is called Cry for Help and it's going to be in all the best high street and retailer shops and it's out now. So girlies, you know what to do. Scream and cry until somebody gets it for you.
Ooh. There she goes. Blimey. All these projects, they're keeping you very busy, aren't they? It must be tough.
Yeah, it can get tough and I hate it sometimes and I hate myself. I just want to like cry into a bath of root veg. But then I think thousands of girls would do anything to be me, so I must be quite lucky.
Well, you know you don't have to do this though, don't you?
Yeah, I do think that sometimes. Most nights between like my 4th vodka and the 8th time a stranger slaps me around the arse. I think things could have been different, you know, like better. But I don't know. I love doing autographs and having somebody dress me and tell me what to wear.
Did you always want to do music?
Well, ever since I was a little girl, I did. I'd sit in front of the radio, and as soon as my favourite girl group would come on, I'd press record on my cassette. But then my dad would come in and tell me to turn it off and to go back upstairs and start practicing again.
Sorry, is your dad your manager?
Yeah, which can be tough. And sometimes when it gets really hard, he'll say, "Make Cragler proud, and you might just survive childbirth."
Well, you know what? Despite anything, you'll make me proud.
Oh, if only your opinion was as valuable as his.
And on that problematic note, you're going to be singing your song for us soon, aren't you? Tell me about it.
So it's called These Babies Gonna Bring You Home, and I actually got sent the lyrics in the car on the way up here. You know what? It's actually all right. And don't worry, all my work is team approved.
All right then. Well, you can go and get ready for that. We'll see you in a little bit. It was a very specific type of pleasure to chat to her, and I just can't wait to hear this. Whoa, so here is Lucy with an exclusive first performance of her new track, These Babies Gonna Bring You Home. Take it away.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's the Force's favorite.
Trying!
The Queen of Team.
I tried!
Lil C.
Oh baby, can't you see I'm hungry? There's a place in me that's empty. I want that meat you're packing. Only you can fill that crack in me. I'm under siege, so come and free me. Ain't no disruption here, boy, I got no agenda. Just want the team and me. No dirty foreign labor. Don't stop no morning drill. There's holes in me that ain't been filled yet. I only scream this loud when you do your country proud. I ain't no baker's daughter. Common Spanish on my border. Quick before I get much older. Tie me down and pull me like an enemy soldier. An enemy soldier. So let them try and break or drink me. Fight and love and die at two. So what a Peter Clemens boys can come and use me as a toy. I wanna see action. So come and break my sanctions. I've been this wild and free since my mom burdened me. She was only 53 but gave to save her family. There's no one judging me if I'm the one that's in your fantasy. Don't die alone, these babies gonna bring you home.
Can't get the rhythm right on this one.
Come and skirmish on my border. Quick before I get much older. Tie me down and pull me like an enemy soldier. An enemy soldier. So what if Peter Clemens boys can come and use me as a toy and flip me over, grab my hair, rip off my clothes and down from there. I wanna see some action. So come and break my sanctions.
Well, if that doesn't distract you from the world outside, I don't know what will. I'd like to thank Lil C for doing that. Don't go anywhere. After the break, we'll finally be revealing the new segment of our show that we just know you're going to love. We'll be back right after this.
And we're out.
Woo!
Can I just say, thank you so much for letting me do this. It really means a lot to, to be able to promote myself on such a mainstream platform like the news.
Well, don't worry about it. And you know what? Good luck for the future. Take care of yourself. This industry can be crazy sometimes. Watch out for that father of yours.
Oh, no. I manage myself. It's just, for the public to have that certain it's like...
Oh, right.
And Michael? Michael?
What about Billy Bob Jean Short?
Oh, my dad. Such a sweetheart. We both had the same agency, like it just made sense. Both of us for our image together. And Michael, I want to see the revenue share for the clothing line and get me a G&T before my meeting with the lube guys. If they say for your pleasure, I'm going to stop using it.
I hate to tell you this, but you're going to need all 4 sound effects buttons for this next section. Try and pick the most appropriate sound effect for the actors' lines.
Oh,
They can't
God.
hear your choices, so they'll be assuming you're helping things along and not making them look ridiculous. Mind you, after the last section, can't help us all. Try and do better.
I'm better than that now. I'll tell you what, just keep adding flowers until it feels like 12. Got it?
Absolutely, right away. 10 seconds. 5, 4, 3.
Thanks for joining us for part 3. We've been teasing you about our new feature all night, and now the wait is finally over. I can reveal that every night on the show we'll be treated to an episode of an informative and hilarious new segment called The Notice Board. It stars some top talent and we're very excited about it. But before we see it, let's have a quick chat with the writer, director and phenomenon, may I say, Jeff Algebra, guys.
Actually, I've got the algebra. I go by Jeff DePlume now. How'd you like that?
Yeah, very fancy. I suppose you need a new name now that you're a successful artiste.
Well, exactly. I'm earning enough to pay taxes now.
Oh.
It's shit.
And how does Angela feel about all this? Your wife. Your wife.
Oh, God, no. No, she's long gone. No, she was holding me back. I'm with Norm now. We were married last month.
Norm de Plume.
Yeah.
Norm de Plume.
Yeah.
And why did you write this? What was your inspiration?
Well, I received a telephone call offering me 25 grand to write a pro-team sitcom, and I heard my father's voice. It said, Jeff, you listen here, boy. You make hay while the sun shines. You wring every penny you can get out of this. So I wheeled him down to the transition centre, got out my typewriter and started clacking utter shite.
And without further ado, let's give it up for the notice board.
I tried! I was pressing the button! Pressing the button!
Good morning.
I tried!
Craven.
I don't know why it didn't work.
Good morning, Ray.
Everything all right, Mrs. Craven? You look as worried as the vicar in closing time.
Oh, Ray, it's those young louts. They've vandalised my shop again.
No!
Yes! They've written all sorts of obscene language and crude pictures, and I know it's those damn youths.
I don't know. It could be the vicar. At closing time.
I'm just worried they won't ever become productive members of the community.
This is
What if they never
too
see
much
the error
multitasking
of
and a
their
cat
and
on
end
my
up
lap.
as social outcasts, such as shoplifters or bong rats.
Don't worry, Mrs. Craven. This is a very supportive community, and I'm sure that in time they will fit into this society like this key into this lock. See? Works like a charm.
What a lovely way to put it, Ray. And just like that, we can unlock their future.
Yes. Wow! Look at all the letters in my collection today.
Oh! I think that one's addressed to me.
What? This one? Oh, so you're right. Here it is.
It's a letter from my granddaughter, Brenda. She says she got an A on her maths exam because one of her friends has been helping her. She was always a team player, was our Brenda.
What's up, losers?
Oh, no. It's Brad. He's the coolest guy in the village.
That's right. I just got here on my motorbike.
Oh, clear off, Brad. We don't want any of your ilk around here.
What?
Around
Rad
here.
dudes?
No. Ruffians. Have you come to tag the notice board with your gang signs?
No way. I've actually come to pin my resume on that notice board. I'm looking to do some tutoring after school.
What? Did you say tutoring?
That's right.
Tutoring?
Maths is very important.
Maths is very important.
Would you mind, Ray?
Not at all.
So you, a young person, have been spending your time helping others and not just urinating on churches or huffing glue?
Hey, I haven't huffed glue for months.
Well, blow me down!
You know what? We misjudged you based on how young and cool you are and not on your actions.
No doy.
So it wasn't you who vandalised my shop last night or
called me a rancid old crone from the back of a chopper?
No way. It can't have been me. I was too busy helping my friend Brenda with her maths homework.
Could you speak up there? I thought for a minute there that you said Brenda.
Not Brenda.
Old sow.
Did you hear that, Ray?
Oh, yes, what a wonderful surprise. I now respect you as a man.
Put her there, Ray. Put her there, Ray. Oh, what the heck? Give us a hug.
What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? What's happening?
Sorry to interrupt the first groundbreaking episode of the notice board, but we're receiving some breaking news. I'm being told we're picking up reports from across the continent of what appear to be what appear to be nuclear explosions in four major cities. Initial estimates put the death toll into the millions. I'm being told that we're experiencing some power fluctuations as a result, so apologies to any interruption to the broadcast for you at home. And now I am told that we are going live to team headquarters for an emergency broadcast from Prime Minister Julia Salisbury at any moment. Yes, let's go to that now.
Good evening, citizens and leaders of the world.
Have we bombed people?
Minutes ago, operatives working for Advance detonated nuclear explosives
Yeah.
simultaneously in 4 major cities across the continent. We have similar devices in 58 other urban centres.
We're terrorists now, aren't
and
we?
will not hesitate to detonate them if our conditions are not met in full and
Stories
without
of power fluctuations and what could be minor earthquakes throughout the continent. Stand by. We've lost contact with our benefactors in Urkistan and Konoslava. While our equipment seems to be resetting. Can we get this confirmed? Can we get this verified? I need this verified.
Your people are our people. They will finally be fed and clothed and educated and healed. But
I don't know what I should be
for your
doing.
privileged few, the moment that they feared is now upon them. Allow me to be crystal clear. If you fire a single shot at our territory, or harm a single one of our citizens, we will not hesitate to detonate further devices. You will not find them. Though no doubt you are already searching for them. Our technology is decades ahead of yours. We will expect your complete acceptance of our terms by midnight tonight. Thank you. Thank you.
Well, okay, so there you have it. Advance making a brave move that looks likely to end the war in this, its 20th week. There's a lot to take in here. And I know you, like me, will be wondering if this is too much. If we've gone too far. But I'm thinking of our sick and ill, denied their medicines, the children with no food on their plates, and the body bags returning from the front line. And I ask myself if without some big, bold gesture it would ever stop, and I do not think it ever would. We elected Advance to make this country better for us all, and it was working. But then the rest of the world looked at us and they said this cannot be seen to succeed. And they brought their warships and their tanks and their planes just to make sure that we were instead seen to suffer, to make sure no one anywhere would ever attempt this again. So, to my mind, our government have taken the only path available to them.
This game is getting a lot darker than I thought it was going to.
One that ultimately we can respect, because it is designed to keep us safe. And while this is unquestionably a dark night, it may indeed presage the dawn of a new future. My name's Megan Wolfe. Let's make tomorrow better.
And we're out.
Do you ever get the feeling that you're making history?
Hi, I'm Sophia Remington, the CEO.
I got an A+ for that. Yes. Disrupt hacks. Oh, so I could see what they wanted to say. Yeah, not gonna do that. Let's just get on with the game. I might do maybe one more broadcast and then stop for the day. The rest of your shift passes in a blur with the same words going around and around in your head. Operatives working for our advanced detonated nuclear explosives. Initial estimates put the death toll into the millions. Did this really just happen? You pull into the driveway with no memory of the journey home. The light in the front room is on. Clearly someone else is still awake. The door creaks open into the living room and you find Sam sitting on the sofa staring at the TV. The screen is off and they're clearly lost in thought. You take a seat beside them and put a reassuring hand on their shoulder. They start at your touch, breaking them out of a stupor. They attempt to smile, but you can see it's strained. Sorry, I didn't hear you come in. I was thinking about... Sam stops, shaking their head. So many people. I can't quite believe it. I know, it's... horrible, but necessary. Sam turns to look at you, their gaze calm and sure. Advance did what they had to protect us. With the sanctions, the blockades, this was full-scale war. We won. There had to be another way. Killing millions of people is never the answer. Sam frowns at you. Alex, you can't be serious. We're at war. The country is starving. People are dying without medicine. These bombs were the only way to end the suffering. They're looking at you with concern, but also defiance. You have to know it was the only real option. Yeah, war is not a blank check. It doesn't... Oh, I just don't know. I see. The look of concern on Sam's face goes deeper. Alex, I can't agree with this. I think Advance had to do what they did. They look away before continuing. I don't know if I can get past this. If you can't understand it was necessary, I need some time to think. Sam leaves without another word and you hear them head upstairs. It'll be okay. Probably. Ooh, I just destroyed my marriage. Zooming into the future. A friendly neighbourhood. Oh, this sounds nice. I can't see this being bad at all. There have been a few ups and downs over the year, but it's nice to be able to enjoy the last of the summer sun in the garden with Sam beside you. Oh, that's good. So I didn't destroy my marriage. Oh, yeah, again. Seriously, reading, for some reason, makes me yawn. Is that a thing? Or is it just me? You're just getting to a climactic part of the book you're reading where Detective Cassis is about to enter the serial killer's lair when you hear sirens coming from the front of the house. I don't know why the stream is getting all jerky all of a sudden. I think it's telling me I need to stop soon. You exchange a look with Sam and the two of you head round to the front. You arrive to see a couple of patrol cars and a betterment vehicle parked outside your neighbour's house. I'm glad they're getting the help they need, you hear from Sam, standing there smiling with their arms crossed. They never understood how the new future is making things better for everyone, but they will now. Did you report the Andersons to the cohesion office? Of course. Jonah's been complaining about Advance since they got in, and I'm pretty sure I heard George on the phone planning to go to a disrupt meeting when we had them over for dinner last week. You watch as Jonah and George are both escorted, though not unkindly, to the van. Sam raises a critical eyebrow and looks at you. It's not like they're being arrested, just taken to one of the centres to educate them as to how advanced are really helping people. They'll be back before you know it. It's certainly true there was no hint of violence or the threat of physical force from the CCOs. Still, you're not sure that's how the pair being taken away will see it. Give Sam a non-committal hug, you're not convinced. As the betterment van pulls away, you can't help but notice the rest of the neighbours on your street. Some standing at their front doors like you, others watching through their window. Almost all with looks of concern and anxiety on their faces. If Advance are just helping people, why does everyone look so scared? An academic exodus. It's a seemingly ordinary morning, but as you get into work, you find a small crowd gathered in the break room. When you go in to grab your first cup of tea of the day, you can't help but overhear some excited chatter. You didn't hear? Yeah, another one's gone missing. What's that bring the total up to now? Oh, I should think over 100 at this point. They won't have all been reported or noticed yet. Sorry, what's going on? An excited young woman turns to you and begins to explain. Another professor went missing from Queensview University. With all the other disappearances over the last year, scientists, doctors, researchers, she pauses before lowering her voice to a whisper. It's clearly disrupt targeting the people speaking out against them. I even heard Advance are struggling to prevent further... A deep familiar voice from behind you interrupts. What exactly is going on here? A silence overtakes the room as you all turn in unison towards the doorway. Bozeman clears his voice before continuing. I've told you before, I don't want to hear about these so-called disappearances. Come on now, people. Advance have been very clear that they're nothing to worry about. Which means they're not our problem. And unless they start classing cappuccinos as intellectual, I don't think anyone here has anything to worry about. Best get back to work. Bozeman holds up her hand to keep you as everyone else files out of the room. Look, between you and me, this leave it alone malarkey comes from on high. It's out of my hands, so I'd appreciate it if you would refrain from talking about it further. And make sure the news is in line with that school of thought, yes? He gives you a pat on the arm and a smile before leaving to carry on with whatever it is he does during the workday. It seems that, for better or for worse, public ownership is now in full swing. A career in the making. My career? Am I getting a promotion? Awesome. You drum your fingers on the steering wheel impatiently as you wait for Charlie again. It's great he's enjoying the cohesion cadets and is so enthusiastic, but does he really need to stay behind every week to help? It's your Saturday evening too, after all. Finally, you see him exit the hall, a grin on his face. You can't help but smile back, the frustration starting to fade as you see him so genuinely happy. After hugging his friends goodbye, Charlie heads over to the car and gets in, his face flushed with excitement. So how was you interrupted, as he can't contain himself any longer? Guess what? What? You play along with a smile. So, obviously the Cohesion Cadets is a starting point for becoming a CCO, so we get a head start when applying for that. Charlie gushes, clearly keen on explaining his news, almost tripping over his words in an effort to tell you. Well, apparently from next year, the top 5% of cadets will be taken into a special programme to become CCMs, Community Cohesion Managers. Guess who's going to be in it? He beams at you. I see, and what exactly do these Community Cohesion Managers do? Oh, well basically they need a new liaison team between regular people, the CCOs, and the Betterment Department. And that'll be us. People come to us with concerns, and we'll decide whether they need referrals, and if so, to which department. Cool, right? So you're going to be helping people report on their friends and neighbours? Well, yeah, I guess, but only bad people. It's about helping the community, making it safer for everyone. Charlie frowns at you. You don't like the CCOs or the betterment teams? No, it's it's not that. Forget about it, bud. I'm proud of you. Okay, cool. I can't wait to tell everyone else. Charlie sits back in his seat, smiling again, though less enthusiastic before. Is this really a good thing for him to be doing anymore? I don't know. I don't know. I wasn't expecting to have to make moral choices in this game. I was expecting it to be a fun time management thing. Ah! After coming downstairs to grab breakfast, the peace and quiet tells you the rest of your family must still be asleep. You decide to eat in the living room and watch some TV while you can before someone else monopolises it. This is breaking news. Reports are coming in from across the country that large swathes of farmland went up in flames last night, as part of what authorities are calling a heinous and well-planned act of terrorism by the group known as Disrupt. You drop your spoon back into the porridge and turn up the volume. In addition to food stores, which the government sources have said will put a strain on universal medical centres countrywide, a number of CCO and civic buildings were targeted in last night's attack. According to Prime Minister Julia Salisbury, specific prisons and re-education and betterment facilities were raided, and a small selection of problematic and potentially dangerous individuals were forcibly extracted from lawful custody. You hold your breath, waiting to hear if anyone got hurt. Unfortunately, it appears the CCOs were ill-prepared for an event like this, and Disrupt seemed more effective and well-organised in comparison. While most of the targeted locations were thankfully empty of people, given the lateness of the hour, the betterment centres were fully staffed when they came under attack. 17 CCOs and 4 administrative staff lost their lives as a result of the brutal actions of Disrupt last night, with countless more injured, many seriously, and much to hospital. A few Disrupt members were captured during the conflicts, but the vast majority seem to have evaded capture so far. More on the story as it develops. You go to turn off the TV. You're interrupted by Charlie walking into the living room, bleary-eyed and with a piece of toast. Anything interesting going on? He gestures to the TV. Mutely, you leave the news on as they cycle through the story again. Charlie watches in hushed silence. By the end of the broadcast, they're dubbing it the Night of Fire. Everything's going to be okay, right? I hope so. We'll have to see. The uprising. A year and a half since Liberation Night.
Can you hear me? Alex?
Hello.
Are you receiving?
Yes.
Calling. Come in, Alex. Can you hear the signal? Pick up. This is Alan James. The revolution starts tonight, Alex, and we need your help. Throughout this broadcast, we're going to ask you to do things that will directly help with this mass protest. I'll be talking to you regularly tonight, and I'll also be hacking in when I can. Please help get our message out. We're on the verge, Alex. You've always been fair and balanced in your approach to us. With your help, we can tip the balance in our favour. If you play our tape at the second break, that's when we think it will have the most impact.
Break.
It's on your right.
Okay.
Of Just the Job, followed at 10 p.m. by a chance to see the very last episode of Just the Job.
So what?
How's it doing?
How should I know?
What, you haven't heard from me?
Second break.
He's a criminal, Colin.
Says my nan, but she never misses her birthday.
Your grandmother's on the run, Colin.
Yeah. Armed robbery, resisting arrest, double homicide of the same bloke.
Double homicide of the same bloke? That's quite impressive.
I hope he's alright though. No. He's got this far, and your brother was fine. Going in 10 seconds, everybody! I wonder what they're doing to him.
Annoying him, probably.
Not probably, definitely. Going in 5, 4, 3.
Good evening. This is the National Nightly News, broadcasting across the territories. My name is Megan Wolf. Our top stories tonight. Future legend. It's been 40 days since Disrupt conducted multiple attacks across the territories. During the coordinated action, subsequently dubbed the Night of Fire, emergency services were kept busy at the agricultural centres, while a series of covert attacks were carried out freeing political prisoners, including former newsman Jeremy Donaldson.
He got out!
Nothing has been heard from the missing journalist since the violent disrupt attack on his convoy.
Oh, I'm pleased. I like him.
Donaldson was on his way back to Betterment after his
I mean, he did go a bit
notorious
loopy.
appearance. All of us here at
But-
Channel 1 hope that wherever he is now...
I mean, I don't think that's really his fault.
Food, glorious food. With the last of the menu centres opening in territories 5, 8 and 14 today, Advance confirmed that the programme is now in full operation, providing free food for every citizen of the new future. What started as rationing during the 20-week war has blossomed into a social contract that is the envy of the unawakened world. Jack Tractorpants, spokesman for the menu
Jack
centres,
Tractorpants
said today that while they
is an
can
awesome
guarantee
name.
the contents of every box is nutritious, the actual quality of the meals you cook depends on whether you have a touch of Chef Jordan Rankley or the culinary skills of a professional footballer. If I were a rich man, problems in territories 11, 17 and 22 today as striking bosses attempted to undermine their new economies. With seemingly no awareness of irony, the former CEOs and MDs have come together to form the Wealth Creators Union, with demands including a return to 150% bonuses, private jets and mandatory grovelling zones. Advance have been quick to respond, saying if they would rather quit their cushy jobs to become nurses or teachers, they'll earn significantly more than they used to pay their own workforce. Thus far, no one has taken up the challenge. Some fun now. Signs of ever more resistance to Advance's radical policies today as popular resistance movement Disrupt extended their reach further across the territories. The organisation's emblem appeared in every major city across the territories last night in a well-coordinated publicity stunt, which has seen them dominate the headlines. Asked about the impressive display earlier today, Disrupt spokesperson Alan James said that the movement was reaching what he described as a critical mass. A poor choice of words given recent history. And an ending of sorts tonight for 3 stories we've been following. As Fistful of Dollars, after a highly profitable year, Remington Fist today announced the opening of their new high-tech underwater corporate HQ. Astounding CEO Sophia Remington, pictured here, departing for the new HQ built using underwater FLAD technology, commented, "We've put windows everywhere, saves a fortune on aquariums." A happy ending there for Sophia Remington. Fun guy. Unexpected news today as 2 familiar scientists announced the birth of an extraordinary child. The underground struggle of doctors David Wong and Ingrid Sporsborgen-Horgensvoord captured the hearts of people around the world. And after an arduous return voyage, which took over a year, the couple say they've never been happier. Baby Dante is said to be healthy, if a bit partial to the airing cupboard. Thinking outside the box, the fate of Johnny Hamsleeves was finally revealed today as his publicist released this new image of the sportsman. The accompanying statement said that thanks to the experimental work of the good doctor and his team, Johnny did not die of his rare and fatal illness. Instead, he will live a full and happy life as soon as we've worked out where to find a new body and how to pop him in there. All that, plus we'll be taking
good
a trip
for him,
to
I
Angley
guess.
Parks for the notice board, as well as getting a sneak peek at the hottest ticket in town. That's all coming up on tonight's National Nightly News.
Too many buttons.
But first, 500 days after the loss of a fine leader and a great man, the start of tonight's programme is dedicated to remembering and celebrating the life of Peter Clement.
Oh, did he die?
Patrick Bannon
That's
is
sad.
live from Parliament Park, where Julia Salisbury will be breaking ground on what will soon be a memorial garden in Peter's honour. Patrick.
Listening to that old bitch lying through her teeth about missing that poor bastard.
Patrick.
I don't know what I'm going to do.
We're live.
Because I'm not being funny. Things were better with Peter, weren't they?
Patrick.
They were, and I don't mind saying it. They were, because he held her back. But now there's no stopping her.
Hello, Patrick, we're
Of
live.
course, can't say that, can I, Francis? No, not with public ownership. No, with public ownership, you can't say anything these days.
There.
No, she's lost it, mate. She's completely off the rocker. I heard from an aide that... Hello, Megan, you join me here live from the what? Hello, Megan, you join me here live from the what? Oh.
We've lost some signal there for a moment. Well, we will be going live to that groundbreaking ceremony just as soon as we can get
Well, that was
Patrick back.
unfortunate.
Meanwhile, let me just say, I think the memorial gardens are going to be gorgeous. I've had a sneak peek at the designs and Alana Marsh has done a fabulous job. Oh, OK, all right, it seems like we have got the signal back. We can now go live to Patrick Bannon in Parliament Park.
Thank you, Megan. I'm Patrick Bannon.
Are
and
you?
We are indeed live here. Apologies for the technical difficulties there, but any moment now, Julia Salisbury will step out on stage behind me.
Alex, Bozeman here. The boys in editing have just informed me that the eulogy footage isn't fully cut together yet. You're going to have to do it
God.
live. For goodness sake, make sure you make him look good.
Slowly gathering.
Do I have to make him look good?
This is Alan. You can undermine them here and help us win hearts and minds.
Yes, I can.
Look bad, Alex. Really bad.
I will do that because it's funnier.
And it seems like the ceremony is getting underway. Here is Prime Minister Julia Salisbury, the picture of elegance, to begin her address.
Good evening, fellow teammates and friends. 500 days ago, all of our lives changed irrevocably. Still reeling from the triumphs and tribulations of Liberation Night, another great loss befell the people of these newly united territories. The loss of a leader, a statesman, a dear friend, and a hero. Peter Gordon Clement.
Peter's death at the age of just 62, of course, announced by the team on the 24th of December, just 6 weeks after Liberation Night.
Born to a working-class family on a housing estate in Rotherham, Peter first trained as a carpenter before getting his start on television. First moving and building scenery, and then developing into the personality that we all knew and loved so much.
Just the Job first hit our screens over 25 years ago, running for 11 series, winning multiple awards, and charming audiences up and down the country.
Peter taught us, all of us, not to be content with the way things are, not to accept inequities, no matter how small. But he also taught us what it took to fight them. Courage, integrity, empathy, and hard, bloody graft.
Across a career spanning 3 decades, Peter Clement was known for shows including Wake Up, It's Saturday, and much later, late night chat show Petey, which at its peak drew millions of viewers.
Peter was by no means a saint. Trust me, he once told me he had more regrets than he'd had stolen dinners. He always did have a knack for a turn of phrase. But it speaks to the strength of his
Am I
character.
doing a good job? I don't know.
That he chose to share with us his mistakes alongside his achievements, his faults as well as his talents. Peter had the heart to give it all he had for the people of these united territories.
Famous for his potty mouth, it's estimated conservatively that Peter Clement uttered over 1.5 million swear words during his career, though some sources put this figure well in excess of 2 million F-bombs alone.
Gripped by illness as he was in the weeks and months leading up to Liberation Night, he wasn't the man we loved. But his eyes still twinkled with that familiar joy for life, that spark of wit and wisdom of a life lived for others.
Prime Minister Clement, of course, died from apparent liver failure after suffering from the long-term effects of alcohol abuse.
I first met Peter nearly 20 years ago, moments before I was supposed to give a speech. Not unlike this one, actually. Only I'd spilt coffee all down myself, and I was young, nervous, desperate to be liked, and from behind me I heard, "Christ, Pet, you've either pissed your kecks or sprung a leak, but either way you got a problem." And before I could even say a word, he stripped off his dry trousers and insisted I took them. That was the sort of man that Peter Clement was. Kind, compassionate, sensitive, a brilliant thinker, a natural leader, but mostly a good man. This glorious nation of ours, so beautiful and new.
Hope I did good.
This shining beacon of...
Thank you, Alex.
Yes.
There'll be another opportunity to steer public perception soon. It's really starting. You'll know when.
Will I know when?
Accomplishments.
Might not know when.
The future he forged, the future pushed. To me, he'll always be the man in his pants, cheering on a stranger at the back of the conference. It is my great honour to give to you the Peter Clement Memorial Garden. Shall we see if we can get a countdown going? Everyone with me? 10, 9, 8, 7.
Oh, hello.
Now, Alex, control the message.
Mom, we have to...
I'm not leaving, I can't!
Oi!
You two, look at me! Don't panic! Help us here, look! Help us here! You're hurting me!
Well, stop resisting then! Stop resisting and we'll let you up!
Not resisting! Ah! Okay,
Not resisting!
Turn the camera off! National Night News, we have the right to be here! I said turn the fucking camera off!
Still beeping out my swear words.
Who the fuck are you?
Oh, I can't hear you.
We've got you.
Yes, medics are coming, you sit down.
No, I can't hear you. I'm from the National Nightly News.
Well, then you can consider this payback. Salisbury's still here! Julius Salisbury! You were guilty of the murder of more than 10 million people! Justice demands a response!
Haven't you done enough? Look around you! This is what your precious freedom looks like, isn't it?
Rise! Take to the streets, the time has come! Stop fires! Break windows! Draw them out! They can't stop us all! Resist! Distract!
Lower your weapons! Location secure. Lower your weapons!
Get out there! No. What are you doing? Come on!
Will you turn that off, please, sir? I said, please turn that off. Please turn that off.
Shocking scenes from the capital there, exclusively. Shocking scenes from the capital.
You've just seen them execute unarmed civilians. People like you and me. So why are you watching this? Why are you not in the streets with us tonight? What will it take for you to get up and be a part of this? March on team headquarters. Storm the building.
Disrupt attack later in the programme, but when we come
I
back,
don't
it's
know
time
what
for
the right
happier
thing. I mean, I know what the right
pursuits.
thing
You know
is
what
to
that
do.
means by now. Don't go away. We'll be back after this.
Thank you, Alex. From all of us, you're doing great.
The bomb was a good distance
Oh, I
from
was
the
supposed to.
This is becoming a weekly event.
I was supposed to do this in the second
Different
advert break,
tonight.
and I accidentally
This
did
is
it in the
the big
first
one.
one.
Great. There's a
Sorry.
revolution happening outside, and we're off to dangly fucking parts.
That's journalism, apparently.
Can we get set for the next sequence? And I'm here tonight to say I'm sorry. And to beg for your forgiveness.
Oh, I got an A+ for it though.
My parents are not
Still
rich.
good at my job.
My mother was a nurse and my father worked in a factory. I was the first member of my family to go to university. But I always envied my friends who had so much more. Over the years, my jealousy grew. So when Advance came to power, I didn't think about the damage they would do. I acted selfishly. I was glad to see the rich punished. I didn't see how backwards Advance were. I didn't understand that rather than tearing down the wealth creators, we should have been helping everyone else to take a seat at their table. Under Advance, the country is poorer. It is poorer in ambition. It is poorer in...
Alex, During this next section, a cameraman working in the newsroom who's one of us is going to get a coded location out. We don't know yet which camera he's on, but if we find out, I'll let you know. Just keep your eyes out for the fist and try and keep it on the air for at least 5 seconds.
I will try.
Our operatives will do the rest.
I'll try. I make no promises, though. I'm not very good at my job.
No. What? No.
I'm sorry.
10 seconds, everybody. Sorry, Craig. It's a no.
Our only hope.
Okay, we are going in 5, 4, 3.
Now lies with disrupt.
Welcome back to the National Nightly News with me, Megan Wolfe. Very shortly, we'll be heading on over to the final episode of what has quickly become a hugely successful feature, the notice board. But before we do, let's chat with Philippa Radin. Tell me, why do you think the public love the notice board so much?
It's real. There, I said it. It connects with people. You know, people look at us and they say, those are real people struggling with real problems.
That's a really interesting point.
Yeah, I mean, I was saying to my PA secretary as I got out the limo, I was saying, it's good for people to see normal, authentic people like them on TV.
People like you.
Yeah, precisely. Unfortunately, then I was interrupted by some dreadful wretch who wanted an autograph, but a swift kicking from security soon put him back in line.
Yes, well, I think it's really good that our screens are filled with such relatable stories. So, the notice board is coming to an end after a sensational time at the top. What do you think has made this show so successful?
It's a combination of so many things. My hard work, my talent, my look.
Wow, you really have a lot to thank you for.
Hey. You're welcome.
We've just heard. Our man's on camera 4.
I have a real sense of responsibility now.
Get back to the interview, Alex.
With something precious, and that I should use that platform for good.
Yeah, I think that's really important, that we should use this platform to do good in the world. I agree.
That's exactly it. So I've decided to help as many
Excellent work, Alex. That's the location shared. Next, you'll need to give them the go.
How do I give them the go?
Education, or reducing child poverty?
No, by adopting as many as I can get my hands on.
Oh, okay. How many children have you adopted?
Oh, we're well into the double figures now, Megan. I stopped counting in the late 30s.
Goodness, that is a lot of children.
Yeah, once we finish putting them into the guest room, I'll have to put a futon in the laundry cupboard.
Oh, you really are some sort of hero.
Hey, I live a privileged life. What can I say? I mean, any child I can take on is a child rescued from suffering.
Poor children. Were their lives really that bad before?
Oh, they're Normans, I presume so.
Okay.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, it's shocking to think, actually, that only 1 in 10,000 children have a celebrity parent.
So sad.
I'd never thought of it that way before.
And I'm doing everything I can to fix those numbers.
What do you think it is about your life that's so desirable, then?
Well, it's mainly shame and panic interspersed with expensive bottled water, so actually, if anyone wants to, I'd happily trade.
Now that I can relate to. Right, you better go off and get ready. That was Philippa Radin sharing some thoughts about her lifestyle. I think it's really important to stay grounded and keep everything in perspective. Clearly, not everyone else agrees, but that's enough from me. Let's go now over to Dangly Parts for the final ever episode of the Notice Board.
What a day! First the tea morning, and now to post this notice. I don't know how I managed to cope with it all. Oh wait, perhaps I do. Oh! By St. Barnabas, what on earth is all this?
Freeze, dirtbag!
Oh, Laura, it's you. I thought for a moment you were a knife-wielding mugger or stabber.
No, I'm afraid not. It's just me, a community cohesion officer, responsible for keeping crime at record lows.
Of course. Keep forgetting that thanks to you and your colleagues, violence on our streets is a thing of the past.
What's all this, Vicar?
I know! It's a disgrace. Somebody...
It's time for the go code. Give us 3 boos in a row, Alex. That will start the pincer movement. You might just pull this off. Push forwards! 3 boos, Alex.
Careful, Vicar. It looks heavy.
Ha! They don't call me the Right Reverend. Ripped for no reason.
Yes!
It's no good.
It looks like all those crucifix classes were a waste of time.
Perhaps you, a young CCO, would be able to move it.
Try and get the next one.
Oh, but I did 3 boos in a row.
Looks like all those lifting classes were a waste of time.
It's too heavy, even for me. A strong and capable...
Let's hope that's enough. At least you tried, Alex.
Strong enough to lift this.
Did someone call for the best firefighter in town? Firefighter in town? Hi!
Well done, Captain Evans. You're so much stronger than us.
Especially me, the weak old man.
It's the least I could do for my community.
No luck catching the little devil then?
Unfortunately not. The ferret struck again last night. When Ray opened the post office this morning, he found that every single stamp had been pre-licked.
My God!
Some people have no decency.
Pre-licking stamps
Sadly,
is just beyond the
if we
pale.
don't catch him before tomorrow, we may have to cancel the village fete.
Don't worry. We won't let that happen. Will we, Vicar?
No, no, no. Laura, tell me, why do they call him the ferret?
Some say it's because of his sneaky nature, but really it's because whenever he strikes, he always leaves behind the foul stench of urine.
That'll do
Never
it.
fear, officer. We'll catch this pissy nuisance and save the village fate. Or my name's not Captain Danger Evans. The community cohesion team are doing their best, but they simply don't have the smarts to solve this mystery. But I know someone who does. Someone who's about to blow this thing wide open. Me! Blackout!
It's the morning of the village fete, thanks to theatrical convention.
I sure hope everything goes to plan. Oh, look! There's Mrs. Craven setting up her cake stall.
And look, there's the motorcycle display team setting up for a show that will be far too expensive for live television.
I'm going to set up the coconut shy. What are you doing, Vicar?
First, I'm running the tombola. Then, I'll be selling forgiveness for money.
Aren't you judging the jams?
I couldn't possibly.
Well, that sounded like Mrs. Craven. Looks like someone sucked all the jam out of her donuts.
Oh, no!
Ferret has struck again!
Whatever are we to do?
Although I'm very competent, I have no idea how to solve this case.
I guess we'll just have to cancel the fete.
Hold it right there, ferret.
Me? Have you been drinking from the fire extinguishers again?
Not you, the vicar.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Admit it. You wanted the village fete cancelled so you could have the day off, didn't you?
I already have to work Sundays. I shouldn't have to work 2 days a week.
But how did you know?
Well, my first clue was the smell.
Yes, I do smell of urine.
Next, I noticed that the vicar's tongue was particularly dry, almost as if he'd been licking thousands and thousands of stamps.
Or perhaps eating Mrs. Craven's baking.
Which brings me on to my third clue. The vicar said that he had no more room for jam.
Almost as if he'd had his fill.
Precisely.
But you managed to figure it all out from that?
Well, I also found this at the scene.
That proves nothing. No!
Get him out of here, officer!
You did it, Captain. You could say you
Keep pressing the
ferreted him
wrong
out.
button for the...
Hey, come on. Let's go and have a party in my massive garden. I am doing well.
Thanks to you, we're all doing well. Well, that was it. The final ever episode of the Notice Board. And what a way to end it. Thank you as always to Jeff, Philippa and Tommy. After the break, we'll be both dancing and learning. So don't change that channel. We'll be right back.
That's the ads. Well done, everybody.
Wow! What a brilliant run, eh?
This was the break we were hoping you'd play our tape. It would have had the most impact here, but we know you played it earlier, and we appreciate the effort.
Well, thanks. I got confused.
Hey, you! You coming to the after party?
Mrs. Neal, come on in. Tell them about... One last push, Alex. We're closing in.
Segment grade E?
Our section is working with us. You'll be asked to censor on
didn't
our
think I was
behalf.
that bad.
If you do it right, the final orders will be given. You'll get 3 chances. Get at least 2 of them right, and we're going to win this thing. It's happening, Alex. Tonight we take it back.
We've got all sorts of crazy stuff to bling your experience. You want it in gold? We've got it in gold. We've got gold-plated strawberries, gold-plated bikes, gold-plated cars, gold-plated helicopter, gold-plated jet plane. We've got gold-plated gold.
I don't think this game is going to be any easier with a cat on my lap.
I'm really not supposed to say.
Are we safe?
Hi, I'm Maddie. Johnny just said to ask if you need any touch-up.
Did she? That's my shade, is it?
Yeah.
This is my shade.
You might be taking a moment in the bedroom and having some intimate family time. We've got gold sheets. What else we got?
Oh, we got a can run back to Jenny now.
She likes it long. I'll give it to her. Yeah! Mrs. Neal.
Sorry about that, Sarah. Nothing you can tell me. At all, like at all.
They said no one's died, that's all I can say.
10 seconds.
What's wrong with you?
She is in tears. Going in 5, 4, 3.
Welcome back to the National Nightly News. Later in this segment, we're hoping to be able to go back to Patrick Bannon at the scene of tonight's shocking Disrupt attack. But first, I'm delighted to be joined by the cast of the smash hit musical everyone is talking about. I'll be speaking with the cast in a moment, but first, let's take a look at them in action. Please give a warm National Nightly welcome to the Novaries.
Hello? Doctor? Yes, I see. Thank you for letting me know. I have a decent life. I'm a happy, loving wife. And my job is well paid and fulfilling. I have a husband, John. He's due home soon, won't be long. And I have to tell him something that is absolutely chilling. We share coffee in the morning, and we make love every day. We take time alone together to talk and laugh and play. We prioritize our needs. We do charitable deeds. But
What's going on?
flowers of a happy life are now beset by me.
I'm home.
Oh, darling John.
Oh, dearest John.
There's something very wrong. I've just had a conversation with our doctor, David Wong, so please be seated. This news will make you feel defeated. The scans revealed a lump.
You poor unlucky chump. Is it cancer?
Worse, oh, John. We're having a baby.
How can this be?
Oh, woe is me.
Why has this happened to me? I always wear 2 condoms for the maximum of
Safety in our tiny flat. We built a peaceful habitat. Now our lives are fucked. We're having a baby. Now you can't have any wine at the club.
And there won't be any time for foot rubs.
Now your hair will stink of weed.
And you'll start to disagree.
And forget about that holiday in Territory 3. chance.
The only glue they have to deal with comes from personal bums.
Now when I take a sick day at home,
The parasite won't leave you alone.
how he's grown.
We're our top priority.
I look after you, and you look after me. Ain't no trouble and strife, we got a childless life. No one wails and no one bawls, no one draws things on the walls.
A happy husband.
A wonderful wife, we got a childless life.
We're having a baby.
We're having a baby, changing nappies daily. We're having a baby. No more weekends by the coast. Now your kid is uppermost. It's more than a passing craze to have childless days.
We're having a baby.
Food and drink thrown everywhere. Death trap toys at the top of the stairs. Every parent prays to have childless days.
We're having a baby.
No more spas and no more
We're having a baby.
18 years on pills and leaves. Time for a whole new phase.
We're having a baby.
One more thing before the show begins. Have you considered that you might be having twins?
That was as weird as I've come to expect.
Amazing. The Novaries there, treating us to their opening number from Elegy for a Childless Life, which is currently the hottest ticket in the capital theatre district. And we'll be touring the territories later this year. Right then, come on you lot, come on down, let's go, don't be shy. Hello. Hi Megan. It's an honour to be here. Oh really, are you fans of the show? Yeah, used to be. Well, listen, let's get stuck in. Your amazing musical. Now, I mean, not only do you perform this show every single night,
with matinees on Wednesday and Saturday.
Right, but you're also the show's creators, am I right?
Well, everyone contributed their ideas, and then some of us went away and did the actual work on the script. But no, it's very much a team effort.
Oh, that's fantastic. How rude of me. I've not introduced any of you. I'll be the one being replaced next. Let's go down the line, shall we?
Hi, I'm Jack.
Jim Blunt. Pleasure to be here.
Jennifer Boreham Woodley.
Hello, I'm John Sapley. Used to be in the business professionally.
My name's Jill, with a J.
And I'm Janet. I'm the youngest.
That's incredible. And you were all friends previously. I mean, what a coincidence, right? With your names beginning with a J.
Oh my goodness, guys! Our names all begin with J.
How have we never noticed that?
Because you haven't typed them out 1,000 times, maybe? You knew? Why didn't you say anything?
I thought we all knew. It's bloody obvious, isn't it? I just thought we were doing a funny thing where we never mentioned it. I believe as well as being friends, you're also couples. In real life as well as in the show.
Well, not exactly.
No. I'm not married to him. I'm with Janet.
And I'm with John, you lucky bean.
Jim and I are married.
4 fabulous years.
Well, that must make for some confusion in the rehearsal room.
Well, you should have seen the first draft. Jen decided that Jack would play Jim, I would play Jack, Jen Janet, Jill Jen, Janet Jill.
What about John?
Well, my character was originally just called Man 1.
It was allegorical. It was very confusing.
Not for a professional.
After much doing and throwing.
And gnashing and wailing.
And gin and tonic.
We decided that we'd just use our own names, which is less truthful.
We're also less likely to go into the wrong dressing rooms.
Oh god, yeah, that would be very embarrassing, wouldn't it?
Of course, when I first wrote it, we were only meant to run for a few nights at the Mimbley Village Hall, but when I registered it with the Department for Culture, it caught the eye of someone high up, and before you could say overnight sensation, we were transferring to the capital!
It's all been a bit of a roller coaster, really. I'm only 19. I'm the youngest.
You really don't have to repeat that.
I had to give up my job as a mortuary technician.
Well, yes, we all had to move to the capital.
I love that job.
It's been a very turbulent time.
So peaceful. No singing. So peaceful.
This piece isn't.
Stand by, Alex. Censor the orange.
It's about children. And why you shouldn't have them.
In a way, I guess it is political, with a small p. After all, we are a solid unit, and eagle-eyed audience members will see we nod our heads to advance on stage throughout, and we target the messaging at women aged 22, well, about 35, as they're the most likely to be afflicted by this terrible problem. Terrible problem.
Having children.
Well, you understand, Megan.
You clearly agree.
This isn't about me. Of course, we see that there are advantages to a family unit, but eagle-eyed couples watch as the little parasites advance on their lives, and there's no time to play the guitar, get through a book, or watch a movie. They're exhausted, passed out on the couch by 20 to 9, for God's sake.
You're very chatty tonight, dear.
Usually I'm the chatty one. Because
you're the youngest, we know. It's not a badge of honour, Janet.
Janet, please, Jennifer.
Oh, well said, John.
Thanks, Janet. Got you back.
So, could you just tell us what is the play about? What happens in it?
Well,
go ahead.
It's a tragedy, obviously. Jennifer, myself, and John have their child, and then the story charts the downfall of their hopes and dreams.
And there's lots of singing.
And dancing.
A lot.
My character works at a menu centre for a distribution unit. Eagle-eyed, she sees her friend's rapid advance to a pit of despair. Becoming a target for children's TV advertising at the age of 22, she decides to take drastic action. I can't really say more, though. I've probably said too much already.
Let's not spoil the second act for anyone who might come to see it.
Which should be all of you. For too long, we've been told that a life without children is somehow incomplete, that children are a blessing. Well, I've done the research, and they're not. Besides, there's already loads of bastards running around all over the place, so...
We just want people to have the option of a happy, child-free life without stigma. You know, when I was 14, before I had come out, I had an experience with a girl called Julia Jacobs. She was an experiment, I guess, you know, a chance to dip my toes into the...
Fascinating. Well, thank you all so much for coming in tonight. I really hope you keep them dancing in the aisles for many performances to come. The noble is there. And I am pleased to say we can now go back to Patrick Bannon to get the latest from the scene of tonight's horrific events. Patrick, are you okay?
Thank you, Megan. This is Patrick
I love that we're still
reporting
pretending
from the
that
scene
that's
of
Patrick
tonight's
Bannon.
Devastating and symbolic
Oh, hey,
attack
Villa.
tonight this evening. An attack
I didn't even notice you were there. I'm concentrating too hard.
I'm still a little dazed and a little deaf, Megan. So I hope you'll forgive me if I seem that it's time to speak with the Prime Minister. Mrs. Salisbury, that's you. You're still here. The Prime Minister.
I couldn't leave. Not when there were people that needed help. Any team player would have done the same. I don't deserve praise for being human.
Yes, no accolades here. Or Palisades. Or lemonade. Right. So, is the situation now? Are we safe?
Yes. The security services performed their duties without hesitation, and I would like to assure the public that although there have been some injuries, there were no civilian deaths here this evening.
Oh, that's good news about the civil.
I want a lemonade right now. I'm going to stop after this broadcast, I think.
No civilian deaths.
And
just the 4 disrupt
get some
terrorists detailed
sustenance.
by law enforcement, who were, as always, so cohesive. If I may, I have
Why
a
can I
message
hear
for your
gunshots?
viewers.
Of course, the camera. There's the camera. Speak there on the camera there.
Stay at home tonight. Do not become another casualty of war. Disrupt have had their moment, but as the dear departed Peter Clements once famously said, it ends today.
Thank you, Prime Minister, for those strong words of strength. Back to the studio. Megan, now in the studio with Megan Wolf now.
Patrick Bannon there, bravely reporting from the front line of tonight's
Blatantly not
horrifying
Patrick
bombing.
Bannon.
You need to get checked out, Patrick. Well, that brings us to the end of tonight's National Nightly News, but before we go, one final thought. Throughout the programme tonight, we've been receiving reports of disrupt activities throughout the territories. Through a series of coordinated attacks, these terrorists are attempting to undermine Advance's vital work. However, sources at team headquarters have told us that this flaccid revolution was not only predicted, but allowed to happen. Our government have lured Disrupt out from the shadows, and they are not the overwhelming force they would have you believe. The military have been actioned, and, well, it's pretty scary out there tonight, so stay at home and stay with Channel 1, because the team has assured this programme that the turbulence will soon be over, and we can once again focus our minds on building the new future with equality, fairness and resources for all. My name is Megan Wolf. Let's make this more.
Damn it, Alex. Tonight is the beginning of the fall of Advance.
I don't know if I did right or not. Ooh!
Permission to detonate. Permission granted, old friend.
What?
Going to detonate. Look over your window, Alex. See what you helped make happen. She's coming down.
Well, I guess that's me out of a job then. Uh-oh. I was trying to, like, toe the line between... I was trying to be kind of neutral. Like, pleasing everybody. I don't know if that's led to a good ending or a bad ending, or even if this is an ending. It feels like an ending. Is it an ending? I don't know. I got a B! I'm awesome! Disrupt destroyed the Channel 1 broadcast tower. Some rude words were broadcast. Yeah, that's my bad. An interference-free show? Well, yes. An exceedingly poor edit? Soscumbers. They're concerned about the language. Disrupt effectively silenced. Disrupt interfered with the show. So, wait, I silenced them, but also they interfered with the show? Oh, I got my full wages though. And things are looking up, and my shares are going up. I don't... Right. Well, that's where I'm gonna stop. Because I've been streaming for like 3 3/4 hours, and I think that's long enough. And also my cat is starting to complain because he hasn't been fed in 11 billion years. The poor thing. I really do abuse him. I mean, it's not even his dinner time for another half an hour, but clearly he is just starving to death. I'm glad you could stop for a bit as well, Villa. If you want to know what happened in the story, the VOD is available. Or it will be, once I've stopped recording, I guess. And, yeah, I'll continue this. I might come back and play a bit more this evening. Because this game is weirdly addictive. And stressful and difficult. But addictive. We'll see how I feel in a few hours. But, for now, I will see you all later, I hope. Bye bye.